What's up, San Diego? Welcome into Gwynn and Chris on this Thursday afternoon, an off day in Cincinnati for your boy and Chrisello Matthew Scraby back at the Odyssey headquarters. Gentlemen, how is your Thursday going?
Well, quite good, I must say, Tony. I heard that you were joining us from a studio in Cincinnati today, so you're not in your hotel.
No.
Would that studio, by any chance, happen to be WKRP in Cincinnati?
No, it is not. But
man.
It's WLW, I think.
Oh, it is.
I am familiar with that radio station, though.
WKRP in Cincinnati. I was expecting you to be rubbing shoulders with Johnny Fever there at getting ready for the show today. No,
Hilarious. Joke,
all right,
Chris.
not
hilarious.
All right, a little better than most of the stuff you come up with there.
Did you hear my chip fracture
Shotty,
joke
shotty.
from the other day?
Let's never go there again. No, good day. We already, kicked the Padres around in the old round table earlier today. Good lively discussion there, and the rest of you, if you might have missed it this morning, you'll have a chance to hear it again between 5 and 6, commercial-free hour of Padre talk, and there's plenty to talk about. As we tomorrow's finally the halfway point, Tony. You can mark it tomorrow. Game number 81.
81, yep.
Yeah, I really, and we said this the other day. I can't believe it. We're not even at actually the halfway point until tomorrow. I mean, it seems like 1,000 things have happened this season already. So
1,000 things have happened.
Yeah,
and,
right.
It has been. It's been a. I mean, it's baseball season's long, and so here we go.
Yeah.
81 start coming tomorrow, and we'll officially be at the halfway point.
Yeah,
It was nice to get on a plane after another closeout win. Padres seem to do well on as you said, you brought up, I think it was earlier this week that
they do
so
seem
well.
to. Yeah, and you were right. You said it doesn't matter which of the games you win; they all count the same. But there is something nice, I think, getting on a plane and traveling either there or back home, and coming off of a win. And the Padres have done a good job of closing out series. I thought I talked about this yesterday. My hero of the game yesterday, Tony, and I know it was Pivetta, and I know it was Arise, but I thought the play that Elias Diaz made to open the ninth inning was as big a play as there was in that game yesterday, because if Jacob Young gets on base, that guy's a stolen base machine. Now they got, the top of the order guys with a chance to tie it up, and Morejon's under pressure. But that was a hell of a play. I'm not a catcher, but I got to imagine running out there with all that equipment on and diving and making that play. That was not easy.
Yeah, he got out to shoot quick.
He really did, yeah.
And not only did he get out to shoot quick, he was able to keep calm and make the throw that was necessary. Because how many times have you seen that throw end up down the line because it's hit somebody in the back or whatever the reason is?
Right.
That throw can be tough, especially moving towards the first baseman. But man, that was a great play, big time play for the Padres at that time. I thought, for me, considering it was a 1-0 game, I'll take you all the way back to the second inning.
Yeah.
2 outs. T-Wade draws that walk, which at the time, at the very least, if nothing else happens from that point on, other than him getting picked off, he's already turned the lineup over so that the leadoff guy will be starting the following inning, no matter what.
Because now you've got to the number 9 hitter, and if Diaz does make an out, the next inning sets up better.
Right. And so not only that, Diaz ends up getting the infield single, which set up the Padres' only run of that game. And often in that Dodgers series, we were often talking about just getting 1-something from anybody at the bottom portion, and they didn't get enough of it. And I thought the last 2 nights of the victories against Nationals, it was the bottom of the lineup that kind of rolled things over or did enough there to turn the lineup back over and let some things happen there. And it was a good illustration of just that walk in itself led to that run, not only from a standpoint of yes, Horizons of coming in, but it would have set them up better regardless. And those are the type of things that you want to see happen. But for the bottom of the lineup.
Yeah, and I'd like to see Diaz do that again, by the way. Roll a ground ball off the third base bag. That was pretty lucky, actually, but
no doubt.
You'll take what you can get. And, we've talked about the little things being a real positive for the Padres. And it's been that way for a while. I mean, I think you could say the same thing when they, were playing for Bob Melvin. They really did a good job on relays and, taking the extra base and first to third. But I think Mike Schultz and his staff have taken it to another level. I go back to that relay throw in the Kansas City game on Sunday. Merrill getting to the ball and Iglesias and home to Diaz and play Diaz made yesterday. And, how many times they've gone first to third and picked up an extra run in an inning that they normally, otherwise wouldn't have gotten. And have they had a couple guys cut down at the plate? Of course. In fact, Diaz was thrown out yesterday after that run was scored. But I don't think that was a bad move. He is slow. I mean, he had no chance of getting there because the throw was good. But to me, with 2 outs, you take a shot. Maybe it short hops the catcher. Maybe it hits off the mound and bounces away. So, I think with 2 outs, you take that shot. With 1 out, you obviously would stop him there and let Machado drive him in. But I think the Padres have been the right amount of aggressive 90% of the time. And I would say even a higher percent of the time, they've made the right plays on defense. And I don't know how many times you and I have said it. Defense to me is not about not making an error. Errors happen. It's on the scoreboard. Every team's going to make a couple. To me, defense is about making the plays that need to be made. When it's time, when you need to turn a double play, you turn it. And, when the ball, you can get to it, you get to it, those kinds of things. And I think the Padres are really good at that. Yeah.
No, I mean, that's where they haven't lacked this year, honestly, is in the small areas of the game. It's been the bigger areas that sometimes have gone cold, the offense or the pitching, the kind of the things we often are focused on. The little parts have been fine, which is why they are in every game. And they don't make a ton of mistakes, those type of mistakes at least that can get you into trouble. And so, start a new series. The Cincinnati Reds team's not bad, playing some pretty good baseball right now.
They have a good manager over there. They have a good manager over there. Do you know Francona pretty well? I would imagine. I know your dad knew him well, right? Because they played. They both played at college at the same time. Your dad and Francona was down at Arizona. I know the year that he was at Arizona. I think the year I got to San Diego, actually, and they won the World Series. My first year with Francona being the MVP of that series, if I'm not mistaken. So.
Yeah, I know Francona a little bit. Don knows him very well.
They're buddies.
He kind of bullies Don most of the time, which is quite hilarious to see.
Hey, Terry, get in line, pal. We all want to bully Don.
But they're an improved team. The whole National League Central, outside of the Pirates, are actually playing some decent baseball right now.
I agree.
Padres certainly don't get any breaks. They'll go from here and they go to Philly next, who also is playing good ball. So, I don't expect to see the close games change a whole lot. I think it may have been 2 years ago we came here. Maybe it was the first year of Ellie De La Cruz. He put on a show one of those games. He was going crazy. He was doing a little bit of everything. I think he's a maturing player. He's learning on the fly here, but yeah, man, the Padres, they got to keep pace because no one else in the division seems to be losing very many ball games, especially the one at the top.
Yeah, well, you look at the National League, not the West, not the Central, just the National League. And out of 15 teams, 10 of them are over 500. So there's only room for 6 in the postseason, So you're going to have to beat out at least 4 good teams, to me, to get through October. And, I think those teams are, you want to try to stay ahead of the Giants, who, for some crazy reason, are now scuffling. Well, they were scuffling. Last I looked, they were down 5-0. Now they've tied at 5-5 with the Marlins. So, don't even let me get the sentence out.
Well, I mean,
But,
Camilo Duvall blew. I don't know if he blew the save last night, but he gave up a bunch of runs and the Marlins
in
won.
the extra innings. The Marlins won both games. The first two games they didn't beat Webb last night, but they won the game that Webb started. So, yeah, the Giants have come back, and the Padres are tied with them now. I think the Cardinals are another team that the Padres are going to be right there with. The Reds is another one, and the Brewers. So, look, all of these games are going to be big. I said this on the roundtable, and I'll get your thoughts on it, Tony. But if the Padres win tomorrow, and let's give them a win tomorrow, they go 45-36 in the first half. Well, that's obviously even Scraby's math will tell you that is on pace for 90 wins. And I think that's going to be about right, because if you don't get to 90 with so many teams over 500 around you, I believe, at least somebody's going to get to 90. Some other teams, I don't know which of the teams, but not everybody's going to fall apart in the second half. So I think you're going to need 90 to get there.
I think we've always held that thought, even when we were picking. At the beginning of the season, 90 seems like it had felt like a safe bet. I would say at this point, it's like the minimum at this point now, right?
Yeah.
The way teams are playing now, of course, you could get one of those weird things where everybody starts playing poorly at the same time and it kind of drops the number a little bit. But based on what we've seen so far, I don't think there's any reason to expect that, barring any injury. And so, or any major injury. So, yeah, 90s right at this point has got to be the starting point to where the conversation is in terms of playoffs. We'll get into more of that here as we go along. More talk about this Padre bullpen yesterday. Suarez served the first game of his suspension. He'll serve the next game here coming up Friday. But, tell you what, Morty Home didn't look bad in that spot. And then you got a good inning from Jeremiah Estrada. You kind of hit on it a little bit. I probably should give him a little bit more luck. Nick Pivetta was fabulous. So we'll talk a little bit more about our Padres on the other end. More Gwynn and Chris when we return.
I actually got in trouble once when I worked at the bank for looking up a celebrity, and it was totally wrong on my part. Totally wrong.
Looking up their account number?
Just I searched their name in the account system. And
Scrappy, what is wrong with you?
I was like 19.
You'd be better off. You'd be better off admitting that you wore your underwear inside out. Frankly,
this guy is just searching up people's accounts.
It only happened that one time because I got caught.
How did you get caught?
The account was flagged, and anybody taking a look at it gets logged, and so I got called into the boss's office like 3 days later.
What did that come? I'm sorry, I gotta ask, but nobody's supposed to be doing this preview. What did that conversation? How did it go?
Well, why were you looking up Paris Hilton? Is that who it was?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Oh my!
I can neither confirm. That's really funny, Chris, that you just yelled out that name out of all names. No, but I walked in. I got called into the office, and I sat down, and all my boss. I loved her. She was great. Her name was Sharon. Amazing boss. She just slid the piece of paper in front of me.
You knew.
Said, "Did you visit this account?" And I looked. Yeah. She was like, "We're gonna have to write you up for this, and if you do it again, we're gonna have to fire you." And I said, "I'll never do it again." And I got out of there as soon as possible. I took everything, but it was not good. Not good.
Just curiosity, huh? He's like, I wonder how much they have in their account.
Yeah. I mean, before I got caught, I did look up athletes. And,
oh my God! I'm so glad you're sitting in this seat now.
Yes, I'm so happy you're not doing any job that can be dangerous to people's futures.
This was in the first year that I was there. I learned my lesson thoroughly.
Chris, as I said, as soon as they walked in, they was like, "Yeah, that's our guy right there.
That's our window.
We're gonna take him down."
Yep.
Just lucky I didn't get caught for like. I can't even say. I'll tell you guys off break whose account I saw and how much money they had sitting in their checking account.
And this was how long ago, too, by the way?
2009, 10. way before I became a good person.
Didn't Bank America end up getting in trouble, or was that it was one of those banks got in trouble?
All of them get in trouble for selling information, but
hiring folks like you.
I wasn't selling any information. I was just wanting to see what was going on.
Curious.
I didn't check their account activity, which I could have. Been like, oh, they bought this here. I'm gonna go up there. I'm not that creepy.
Well, that's stock.
Oh yeah, you're not that bad.
Not that creepy.
This is amazing, by the way.
We're supposed to be doing.
How are we supposed to do baseball picks under these
I don't think we can
circumstances?
anymore. I think we gotta push it. You guys never did it? Well, I mean,
No, Scrappy, we didn't. We didn't do it.
Really?
okay.
Like you work at a bank, you're looking at people's account information? That's unbelievable.
It only happened for a little bit, and then I got in
Only
trouble.
for a little bit.
I can't stop laughing at this because it is quite hilarious. Scrappy.
But you were saying that I may have gotten robbed or whatever. I actually did get robbed when I worked in San Francisco, and they're called quick change artists.
how long did you work in the banking industry?
8 years. I was a teller supervisor when I finished. I was also the merchant teller, which took in around $150,000 in cash a day. Guess what? Always balanced at the end of the day.
Yeah, I bet.
But there was a guy who walked in. He had about $5,000 in hundreds, and he handed it to me. He said, "Can I get 50s for these?" And I said, it's pretty annoying that he wants
$5,000 in hundreds.
In hundreds, and he wanted $5,000 in 50s. He just wanted 50s instead of hundreds. So I had to go get it from the vault. I come back. I'm starting to count it out, and then he's like starting to ask me questions as I'm counting it out.
He's trying to
and then
what did I tell you, Chris? This is what I'm talking
Hey,
about.
That window right there.
Hey, this guy was so good that no one saw it coming. But so when I started getting mad at him because I counted out the 50s, he goes, "What are you doing?" I asked for 20s. And I'm like, what? You did not ask for 20s. You asked for 50s, bro. Yeah. I had to go to the vault to get those 50s. And as I was getting all mad and talking to my boss, he took the cash off the counter and put it into this folder that he had on the thing that
the original 5,000 in hundreds.
Yeah, well, he kept going like that, and then I was so mad, I just grabbed it and I threw it in my drawer. And then he was like, "You know what? I'm out of here." And he walked out. And then at the end of the day, $3,000.
All right, welcome back. Good to be with you here on a Thursday, Padres off day. By the way, Tony, you haven't had too many of those lately.
No.
Padres just finished up a stretch of 26 games in 27 days. And it was interesting. Woodsy pointed this out on the roundtable this morning as we rejoin you here, Crisello, Tony Gwynn Jr., Mr. Scraby. Before the 26 and 27 started, we were all asked on the roundtable, what would you take on this, stretch of games? I mean, a lot of difficult games. Dodgers were in there. Diamondbacks were in there. Giants were in there. You don't get a lot of rest. You've got some pitchers hurt, et cetera, et cetera. And I think we all kind of agreed, whereas it would be nice to go 16 and 10, we'd be happy with 13 and 13 based on where it's at and how difficult a stretch this was going to be. Well, guess what? They went 13 and 13. Exactly that. Although I think some of us feel like, now we're disappointed, because they lost a lot of close games, et cetera. In fact, the Padres have played 13 one-run games already this month, which is crazy. They did win the last 2 over the Nationals. But the point being that this was a tough stretch, Tony, and although they didn't dominate it, they did not hurt themselves at all. And a lot of times in baseball, this is what you need to do. You kind of survive these things and live to fight another day when the schedule isn't so crazy.
Yeah, I don't know that. I think there's a reason why, and it's not to say that we know everything, but I think there's a reason why our instincts, all of us on that panel talking about that day, were like, yeah, we'll take 500 because we knew how tough the stretch was going to be. Now, could they have actually ended up better than that? Yeah, they could have. A few things go their way, we could be having a different conversation. But you get out of that with really all good teams, outside of the Nationals. And Nationals, I think, have a ton of talent, as we saw in that 3-game set. And so, yeah, you should feel pretty good. I always felt like it didn't. I've always taken the stance that it's not as bad as it seemed during that stretch, right? I think it was, some tough losses, but they always bounced back. They always found a way to claw a couple of them out, scratch a couple runs across, and find ways to win. I think those are good characteristics. Now you're going to have some built-in rest here. I think you're going to see a fresher team, and hopefully they start to turn the corner and get back to what we saw them kind of get to. We've seen Mike kind of shuffle the lineup here a little bit to try to, for whatever reason, whether it's, yesterday's was a little bit different with the lefty on the mound than we saw the previous night. However it goes, I think they're trying to find that spark plug again.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. The other thing that just to close out the Washington series, since we had to spend so much time on it Tuesday.
Oh yeah, we didn't spend much time on it Wednesday and Thursday. No, we spent time on it Tuesday,
right? Because
of Monday.
Yes,
right?
Tuesday, the whole thing was about how stupid the Padres were to just basically hand over C.J. Abrams and James Wood to the Nationals because, hey, they, along with former Padre Josh Bell, had great games. Well, the last 2 games of the series, that threesome went 2 for 21 with 10 strikeouts. Wood and Abrams struck out 6 times in 8 at-bats yesterday alone. So, if you're going to put that much emphasis on one day where they do well, then we're going to put a little emphasis on the days that they don't do well. Just to remind
you. It's only fair, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a fair, it's a fair exchange. So,
isn't that funny though? I mean, like it was loud.
Oh yeah.
Tuesday
oh
morning.
My goodness.
Loud.
Yeah. Oh, we're never going to recover from that. Yeah.
And then it was crickets Tuesday night, Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah. Like interesting.
Nothing. We're not having the same. Nobody's talking. There's no subject of conversation about Padres getting fleeced, even though that was a ridiculous conversation to begin with.
Yeah.
It's revisionist history. We talked about it, but very quiet though after the first day. Wasn't quite the same oomph. They wasn't saying it with their chest anymore.
Not as much, no. But
you guys aren't looking in the right places.
What, people are still complaining? I mean,
I got messages yesterday saying you guys aren't telling the full story. I'm like, what aren't we telling?
What's the full story? Yeah, tell us what we're not saying.
They don't even know what the full story is.
Okay. Exactly.
This is why I went crazy yesterday because
yesterday, Scrape?
I'm just done. A 1-0 win is a win. It does not matter that it came in a 1-0 game against the Nationals. It is a win. Wins cause more controversy for some reason than losses.
Well, how many times have Tony and I told you to just say no? Which means when your finger arrives at the Twitter button, it's the little black one that has an X on it, don't push it anymore. Or at least give yourself a few days to rest.
Yeah.
Take a little break from it.
I think you're due for it.
Yeah. These fans are, they are a little
then I feel like I'm ignoring everyone
from time to time.
That's okay. They can be ignored. There's nothing wrong with ignoring people from time to time.
Well, if all they're tweeting about is how, CJ Abrams and James Wood, leaving the Padres has forever altered the course of this franchise. Those are probably things you don't really need to be reading in the first place.
I had such a good conversation with my man AJ Cassavell the other day about this very same subject.
Right.
And
what does he see from the fan base?
He's saying the same thing we are. Like, you're being dishonest if you're saying that trade shouldn't have been made at the time. It's not even close. It really isn't.
I agree. I mean, no one's talking about the fact that Robert Hassel was sent there too, but
it doesn't even matter who else was sent there. The things that happened to the city afterwards were more valuable than what would have gotten otherwise. Here's the thing. You never thought about this, right? If they don't make that trade and they finish on losing that year, I mean, there's so many different things that could have happened. Do we even have the same GM at this point?
That's a good point. Probably not.
There's so many different things that change possibly if the Padres don't go to the playoffs in 2 of the last 3 years.
Is Mike Schilt here?
Are you sharing Petco Park with 40,000 other people every night?
Right. Like, is that a thing?
Yeah. No, you're right, Tony. That run to the championship series, basically for 2 years after that, now 3, has increased attendance by maybe 10,000 per game, maybe more. I don't remember what the attendance figure was for 2022. Not the whole season, but give me half of that season. And now they make a run to the championship. You have 2023 where you're relevant until the end. And then you have last year where you have selling out almost every game. This year they do sell out every game, practically. I mean, I think there's only been 4 that haven't been officially sellouts. So
I can only remember one game where I was like, man, this is
where is everybody?
I can only remember one. And it was a weekday game too.
That trade, that's a good point, but that trade is not negatively affected the franchise in any way. It is positively affected it in a lot of ways.
We literally have our own theme song now in the 8th inning. Like, we didn't have that before.
What? That's what's in?
No, the Blink 182 song.
Everybody's gonna hate me for bringing up those guys who sang that song on KUSI that one day.
Yeah, no, not that. I'm just saying, like, that's reserved for like the Bostons of the world, the Yankees of the world. They have their own song, like in the 8th inning. That's what we have now.
Wait, hold on. I gotta say that I heard Mike Schilt on the post game yesterday. He was asked about being in Jose Iglesias's music video. I guess this is actually happening. And Mike Schilt said he was like playing a tambourine in the background or something.
Oh my God. I can't wait to see this.
He said he was very excited to be a part of it, but
he teased it on our show way back when he first came on.
He did.
And it was going to happen. I think Chris was the one who asked him about it.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about Iglesias. Yeah. The video's coming out. Yeah, for sure. It's just a matter of
Mike Schilt plays the tambourine, unless he was joking.
Well, let me just say something. If I was going to pick an instrument for Mike Schilt, I think tambourine would be about right, honestly.
What made you think of that, Scrape? Was bringing the KUSI group? Did that make you think of it?
It did. It made me think of like songs, and then we were talking about Jose Iglesias, and that's what made me think of it. I completely forgot to even mention that yesterday. Ooh, a Marlin just broke their bat over their knee. That is not easy.
There's Scraby go again with the breaking news of what's happening.
Yeah, that nobody else can see.
I described it.
Not even people on the chat can see what you're watching now.
That is a very easy description. Oh, player broke a bat over his knee. Tony, did you ever try to break a bat over your knee?
Hell no.
Okay.
Marlins are back ahead of the Giants now, 8-5. We'll keep an eye on that game. They're in the 6th inning there. Dodgers are holding a 3-1 lead in Colorado, going to the bottom of the 9th inning. A couple of scores. Ohtani's hit his 28th home run in that game. For those keeping track. All right, we got a lot to get done, as we always do. We have 3 full hours with you today. First of all, we're going to talk our usual Thursday soccer, and that's a little bit later in the show. But we should mention that SDFC last night, in the biggest game, in franchise history to this point, they blew out Vancouver on the road, the number 1 team in the league, and they beat them 5-3. I love it. And the kid Alaska for San Diego, from Escondido, he went to San Pasqual High School, didn't just get a hat trick, 4 goals this guy scores. And SDFC moves into first place with that win. Awesome. So we got to talk about that, and we will a little bit later on.
Also, they had 3 players selected to the 2025 MLS All-Star game.
I would hope so. You got the best team in the league right now, or one of.
Yeah.
You should have some representation. So their inaugural season continues to go beautifully well. I only wish I could have seen the game, but that's another, argument and thing that I went through yesterday already. The NBA draft got underway last night. As I said at the time, Tony, after Cooper Flag, I didn't recognize any of the names. So we'll talk a little bit about that. I think that it does continue today, so we'll keep an eye on that. But also, I wanted to ask Tony this when we come back, and also ask Scraby. Halfway through the season, I want each of you to come up with one thing you're legitimately concerned about with the Padres moving forward, and then one thing you legitimately feel really good about with this team heading into the second half. That is your homework assignment as we take a quick break on 97.3 The Fan.
Gwynn.
Well, Dylan, I think the first obvious question, long hair, long beard, is have you had a shave since the last game of the season?
I don't think so.
Man.
I don't think so.
That's great. That's
Why
great.
is that?
Just changing it up. Why not? You know?
Okay. All right. I'm jealous of the beard because I'm a guy who likes to grow a beard, but your beard, how long did that take to grow?
I think this is 3 months, maybe.
3
Now,
months. Okay.
is this going to stay as we get into spring? Are you going to keep it? Because I don't think I've ever seen you. I've seen the beard before. I don't think I've ever seen the hair.
No, I haven't had hair like this since I was 12. I'll probably keep it. We'll see how it performs, really.
That's the key.
That's
How
the
does it
biggest thing.
perform?
That's the biggest thing.
Speaking of perform, how you feeling, man? Obviously, spring training right around the corner. Pitchers and catchers report. This is the time of year where the green light goes on again.
Yeah, I feel good. Working on a bunch of different stuff. Biggest thing is really just getting the body to feel good and getting ramped up. But I feel like I'm on track.
How do you deal in terms of getting yourself ready each and every year? You know, ball players are notorious for always trying to figure out how to get a little bit better. You're probably one of the most consistent guys in our league. Is there as much a focus on finding ways to get better, or is the focus how to continue on the path that you've been on, which is a guy who can get in a lot of innings every year?
I mean, I guess it kind of depends on what part of the offseason I'm in and, you know, what I'm trying to work on. Like specifically this offseason, I've made a little mechanical adjustment, tinkering with some new pitches. But the bulk of it is just getting my body ready, really. I mean, that's the main focus, main priority. So I kind of know where I need to be in terms of like my velocity and bullpens and building up and all that. So I always like to think I'm adding. I'm definitely working on new pitches and exciting stuff like that. So at the end of the day, I kind of know that my four-seamer and my slider and my curveball are kind of going to be my main pitches.
Right.
So it's like no matter what, that's my base and foundation, and everything from there is just tinkering and just seeing if I can get a little bit better.
We're talking to... All of a sudden, my mic over there.
There you go.
Sorry. We're talking to Dylan Cease here,
Don't
Padres
panic.
starting pitcher. I wasn't panicking.
You look like you panicked.
I was panicking for one half.
He made me panic.
Did I look like I panicked?
You panicked a little bit, that's
all
all
right.
right.
Well, if Dylan says I panicked, then I panicked. I'm going to have to ask the question about, and I know you've been asked this today, but your name has been a part of a lot of trade rumors this year. I think Padres fans want you to stay here in San Diego. See, right there? How do you deal with that? Because I would imagine that would be hard.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's my second year in a row dealing with it, so I got experience now. It's just part of the business, I guess. Really, wherever I go, I'm gonna make the best of the opportunity. I love San Diego and I want to be here, so it's like if I don't go anywhere, I love it here. And if they trade me, then I just have to go make the best of it wherever I go.
Now, you talked a little bit about working on new pitches and mechanics. For you, how long does a mechanical change take to be something where you don't have to think about it anymore?
Yeah, and that depends. This specific scenario, I'm working on an upper half thing, a glove thing. So I don't know. It's kind of new territory for me.
Yeah. So you're kind of figuring it out as you go.
Yeah, but it really gets to the point where it feels good, and then from there it's just ramping up the intensity. And because anytime you do something at a higher power, higher speed, it's like a new feeling altogether. So I can sit and train it one way, but until I'm throwing 98 with
and
it,
doing it game speed,
And a lot of it, is kind of like learning my body, and then I'll throw a pitch, and it's like, oh, that didn't come out the way I wanted it to. Like specifically, if I'm throwing a four-seam fastball and I'm trying to throw it just through somebody, but it's yanked, it's like, okay, something happened right there. I don't know, something came off. I didn't use my legs.
You could just feel something different about it.
And then you see the shape of the pitch. So a lot of it's just gaining feedback from what the ball's doing, and then trying to manipulate my body to see, like, oh, okay, when I do this, the ball goes this way, and just see if I can't ingrain that.
Well, Dylan, I think the first obvious question: long hair, long beard. Have you had a shave since the last game of the season?
I don't think so.
Man,
I don't think so.
That's great.
Why is that?
Just changing it up. Why not? You know?
Okay. All right. I'm jealous of the beard because I'm a guy who likes to grow a beard, but your beard, how long did that take to grow?
I think this is 3 months, maybe.
3 months.
Now,
Okay.
is this going to stay as we get into spring? Are you going to keep it? Because I don't think I've ever seen you. I've seen the beard before. I don't think I've ever seen the hair.
No, I haven't had hair like this since I was 12. I'll probably keep it. We'll see how it performs, really.
That's the key.
That's
How
the
does it
biggest
perform?
That's the biggest thing.
Speaking of perform, how you feeling, man? Obviously, spring training right around the corner. Pitchers and catchers report. This is the time of year where the green light goes on again.
Yeah, I feel good.
5:36 on the clock here in Cincinnati. 2:36 out there in San Diego. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matthew Scraby. Getting into some worries and some not so worries of the Padres. And before we get into that, I don't know if you guys saw what was going down between the Guardians and the Blue Jays today.
Oh, yeah. Little action.
And it just reminded me of what the Padres and Dodgers had just kind of gone through. I'm not sure if it reached the amount of times, but certainly Vladimir Guerrero got plunked. Certainly was not happy about it. And then in a very, I don't know if it was next inning or not, because based off the highlights, they kind of cut it so that it was the very next time up for Mr. Who was it? Ramirez. Jose Ramirez.
That's what you get for being good.
Yeah. You hit our good guy, we're going to hit your good guy. And he got his right on the forearm, and you could tell it kind of stung a little bit. So
Vlad Jr. got his right in the rib.
Yeah.
So
right
Vlad got hit in the top of the third, and Jose Ramirez got hit. Oh my God! Oh, here's the bottom of the fourth. So next inning.
Next inning they got him back. They waited a full inning because they had to hit in the bottom of the third. They didn't hit anybody that inning. They waited to the fourth. So you know that this is probably like, all right, eye for an eye here.
I love it.
Things have changed so much. And
Go ahead.
Well, they've changed. The more they change, the more they stay the same, right? I mean, you've always had this kind of, eye for an eye thing in baseball. But I think the posturing is a little different. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that pitchers don't hit anymore.
Oh, gosh.
And what I'm going to refer to is this game just finished up between the Cubs and the Cardinals. And these are two teams that, like the Padres and Dodgers. I think it's a great rivalry in the Midwest. It has been for 100 years. Cardinals are up in the bottom of the ninth today, down 3-0, a man on base. And the closer for the Cubs, Palencia, comes up and in and hits Wilson Contreras. Contreras doesn't like it. He barking all the way down to first base. Umpires kind of step in the way, make sure, etc. Nothing really happens. But Contreras stands on first base, and he keeps on yelling at Palencia, and they didn't go any further than that at the moment. Now, did he hit him on purpose? I got to believe he didn't, although I didn't see the whole game. But I say he didn't because by hitting him, he then brought up the tying run to the plate. And I don't know why you'd want to do that. Anyway, Palencia strikes out the side after that. Cubs win. And Palencia is lighting it up on the mound.
He's chainsawing his way.
He is going berserk. And, of course, some of that yelling and a celebration is over in the direction of Contreras, who's standing on first base. So suffice to say, instead of the, hockey handshake line that you have at the end of a series in the playoffs, now, we had a bench-clearing incident at the end of the game. Now, nothing happened. Everybody came running out.
I'm going to have to pull this
up.
Do we want to hear from Palencia? I just found some audio.
He's already talking?
Yes, the media in Chicago has already put up his post-game comments.
Yeah, why not? Let's just hear what he had to say. He was pretty pumped up, I'll say that.
Yeah, I know. It's just like, it was an intense game. I was pretty hyped. I mean, that's part of the game. Like, nothing was intentional, like just part of the game. Like, I don't know, I don't want to hear that guy. I've been watching that guy since I was a kid. Like, I really feel proud of him, like what what he's doing for the game. Just like like I say, just like the moment was his 10th close game. Like I think it was just that.
I don't know if I
Love
believe him or not.
I believe him.
They never have hit a guy intentionally before. I don't think he hit him intentionally. What I was talking mostly about was his celebration.
Yeah, his celebration was crazy.
By the way, he hit him and he's telling him that as he's walking down to first base, like, bro, I didn't mean to hit you.
Right.
And if, trust me, very few guys who have the goal to actually hit somebody, if they intentionally did it, they ain't telling them that, hey, man, I didn't mean to hit you there. Nah, they going to stand on their own there. Now, maybe to the media so they don't get suspended, they'll tell you that they didn't do it on purpose. But he walked up to him. It was pretty calm, too. Like, dude, it got away from me.
Yeah.
So listen, just like in the Padres situation, for every action, there's a reaction. His action got Wilson Contreras' reaction. That action is going to then, if Palencia then went ahead and struck the next 3 dudes out, it wasn't like he was in more trouble. He chainsawed his way all the way through the next 3 dudes.
Yeah.
You better believe he's now going to have a reaction to that moment at that point.
Sky high. No
Which
question.
Which is what we love. Honestly, we
do. We should like that. That's what we asked for. We want to see some emotion. We want to make it look like the guy cares that he won the game. But I also say this, Tony, and that goes back to the pitchers not hitting. As you know, the pitchers, and this wouldn't have been a case in this instance because you're talking about a reliever who's probably never going to come to bat. But a starting pitcher is never, back in the day, going to react in any way, shape, or form. And they're going to be extra careful about buzzing high and tight on Hank Aaron or Willie Mays or Barry Bonds or anybody. Because the next inning, they have to step into the batter's box themselves, and that tends to help police things along. And now that you've taken that away, that little work of police thingy doesn't exist anymore.
Just speaking on that nostalgia there, that is one of the reasons why if you were an American League person, or excuse me, a National League person, you love the National League. Because pitchers didn't have free reign to just do that. Let me say that. Starters didn't have free reign to necessarily go after any and everything they wanted, right? Because they knew they had to hit on the other side.
Yeah.
That's to me one of the things that, Pedro was notorious for that. But he didn't really start becoming super notorious for it until he went to the American League. Right.
Yeah,
because
he had the protection built in.
He no longer had to worry about that piece of it anymore.
I think Bob Gibson used to hit guys back in the day for the Cardinals because he frankly didn't mind being hit when he came up.
And that was the other thing.
He knew he was going to get hit, but he's like, I don't care, hit me.
There were certain starters that didn't care. It was like, that's fine. I'm going to get you anyway. You can try to get me. You may not be good enough to do it. You might miss, and I get off scot-free.
I love guys that are crazy enough to just be like, hit me. I don't care.
I also think we have now moved out of the overly sensitive area. Because remember, it wasn't that long ago where these situations were soliciting a different conversation about,
I remember one, and I know
archaic and bullying and those type of issues happening. Like, we're starting to move. We're not having those same conversations anymore about these situations.
I think one of the first conversations we've ever had on this show was about Ronald Acuna getting hit by Jose Urena, and people were calling for Jose Urena to be arrested.
That's right.
For assault.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
At least we're not doing that anymore.
And granted, these are very different situations. Like, it seemed as though they were hitting Ronald Acuna because he was just good and hitting homers off of it. They couldn't get him out. These are situations where someone may accidentally or on purpose been hit, and you just can't let it slide over and over again. Like I said, I don't know the ins and outs of the Guardian Blue Jays situation, if that might have taken place over, some other games, but we know the Padres situation popped off because it was just like enough is enough at some point.
Yeah. Well, again, I'll also go back to the scheduling. I mean, I think you got to have these teams play each other.
Yes.
I just love it.
It's further evidence of it.
Everybody loves it. The teams may, Will Smith notwithstanding, I really think the players also look forward to these games. I mean, it's a long, like you keep saying, Tony, long season. So having some games.
You
with a little
love these
extra
games, but you
spice
got to
it.
get up. Yeah,
right.
man.
It's better. It's better.
It breaks up the mundane everydayness of it. Oh, we get to, and in that particular division, they're like all intertwined, right? Cubs, Brewers, Cardinals, Cubs. I mean,
they're close.
They got a whole bunch that you want to be playing. You know, not having this play everybody schedule is killing that.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get to your subject there.
All right, let me get to my question. Gave everybody a little time on it, but I think for, with the second half, we can kind of do it. Give me one thing that legitimately
this is the true second half too, by the way.
Right.
Not the all-star break, which is more than half.
Yes, exactly. All right. So give us one thing that you're legitimately concerned about moving forward, and one thing you're legitimately feel great about moving forward. He doesn't ever get to go first.
I don't want to go first.
All right.
I'll go first.
Tony will go first. Do you want to do let's start with the negative and we'll finish with the positive. So
I like that.
Give me something you're legitimately concerned about going forward, Tony.
Legitimately concerned about starting pitching.
Okay, yeah, right.
I just think, you seems to be getting, moving in the right direction. Michael King actually seems to be moving in a better direction, but there's still question marks. And then you add to it Bergert. We gotta wait to see how long this is gonna be. Like, how many of those can you be able to kind of take on and still maintain the level of play? Now, they've been able to do it so far, but if you're going to make me pick a concern, I think it's the starting pitching and the health, I should say, of the starting pitching.
Scrappy, would you like to go second, or do you want to bat third? Because this segment is all about being comfortable for you.
Oh, thank you. I will go second.
Okay, what do you got?
I am legitimately concerned about the bottom part of the lineup. Now, I think that they're going to make a trade that's going to shore up some of that. I think that they're going to adjust, but the bottom of the lineup, 7, 8, 9 is easy pickings for some of these teams and these pitchers. So I'm legitimately concerned about the bottom of the lineup, the black hole, as some fans are calling it.
Well, you had to get that in there, didn't you?
I think it's a fair concern, but I don't think it's a concern that is going to change a lot unless they're going to acquire 3 players, right, that are going to start batting.
They just need a bat that someone might be a little afraid of in the 7, 8, 9 spot.
All right.
They don't make that in the 7, 8, 9 spot.
No, not too often, unless they wear I hate to say, unless they wear Dodger blue. Number one. Number two, the number 8 hitter on the Padres, last I checked, at least yesterday, was your team MVP. Tyler Wade. So you're speaking out of both sides. I just want to let you know.
I said it was. You would be surprised how many people think they're like, how could you actually say Tyler Wade is the MVP? I'm like, guys.
Well, you just kind of cleared yourself up there. All right, my legitimate concern is the same. Tony read my mind. I'll be just a little more specific, but the starting pitching, and more specifically, I really am concerned that Michael King does not come back and pitch. And I'm still concerned about Darvish, although I feel better about him because I do believe that he's knows himself better than anyone else and he will come back eventually. But I don't think they can get to the playoffs without Michael King and or Darvish coming in and pitching some in the second half. I think the bullpen is going to wear out at some point, because, Schilt has to do so much of this 4th and 5th inning bullpen stuff. And you've got to have your stalwarts back. So that's my legitimate concern. All right, let's go to the positive. What is something you feel really good about heading into the second half? And we'll start with you, Tony, again.
I feel good about the team. That's where, in their ability to find a way to get it done. I feel most confident in that part. I think they got the right type of leadership, the right type of core guys. I have no doubt that the roster will improve on the margins where it needs to when it counts. Because when I say team, I'm including the front office in this too, right? I think they have the wherewithal to get it done and put the team in a better position down the stretch. So I just like how would I say this?
Camaraderie?
No, it's not camaraderie. It's more than that. Just the ability to get it done. Period.
They've been doing it all year.
Yeah.
They've been winning a lot of games in what I would say, gutty type fashion. And I hope that continues. Scrape, what do you got? Something you feel really good about?
Well, I feel really good about the 8th spot.
Okay, where the MVP
kidding.
is?
Yes, entirely where it is. No, I think I feel really good about Manny Machado. I think this is the best Manny we've seen in San Diego, and he's been consistent this year. He's coming. I know he's dipped a little bit here lately, but as we say, the team goes as Manny goes, and Manny has been incredible this year, and he's almost got 2,000 hits, right? He's got 1992, maybe 1992 or 3. But
check for you, buddy.
I'm very confident in Manny Machado in the second half.
Good guy to be confident about, Scrape.
Yeah, I'm going out on a limb there, guys.
Well, the old thing we say.
1991.
1991, okay.
Yeah, the old thing we say is the team goes as Manny goes, and it does seem to go that way. Here's mine, and maybe this is the reason I asked the question, because I kind of had this one in reserve. But I was looking this up today, and I think it's not just coincidence. I don't know what it is, but I don't think it's coincidence. There's something to it. And my thing I feel great about is Mike Shilt's track record in the second half.
Good one.
It's incredible, guys. It wasn't just last season where they finished 43-19.
It's literally every season.
It's every season that he's ever managed. He took over a team in 2018. Now, he didn't manage the first half of that season, but he came in, knew what he had, won 41-28 down the stretch. 2019, they were out of it. They finished 33-16 and got into the playoffs. 2020 doesn't count because it was the, COVID thing. 2021, they were 2 games under 500 after the 90-game mark, and they finished 46-26 and again got into the postseason. That can't be coincidence. And I'm hoping that, last year's 43-19. I don't know that you can duplicate that because that's incredible. But Mike Schilt has a magic touch in the second half, and I'm counting on it to be there again.
I can along those lines. I just want to remind people he managed a very similar way the bullpen, the way he did last year and this year in the first half of the season.
Right?
Do you remember what happened in the second half when they made the trades? He no longer had to do the bullpen the way he's piecing it together now because he had reserves, right? And so what happens in the offseason? You lose a couple bullpen arms, and so you're back to kind of managing it the way you were in the first half. And I just think there's a method to his madness. You may not get it now, but typically come second half, you start to get it. And that's how it's been so far throughout his career. And, I agree with that. That's a really good one there, Chris.
Yeah. 4 seasons, finishing up a season as a manager, and, 13 games over, 17 games over, 20 games over, and last year, 24 games over 500, down the stretch. Those are pretty solid numbers.
More than solid.
Yeah. Happen again. And if it does happen again, we're going to be in the playoffs again, because they're certainly positioned to be there. So now, you got to finish it up. All right. Good one, Guy. Good job, everybody there.
Good topic, Chris.
Homework assignment.
Good topic, Chris.
Oh, thank you, Matthew.
My math.
He's going to say my man is what he was going to say. But.
I just want you to know this, Tony. Yesterday, we're watching America's Got Talent, and Terry Crews, the host of the show, sends a contestant out and goes, "Hey, good luck out there, my man." And every time somebody says that on television, Loriello goes, "Oh, Tony Gwynn Jr., my man."
My man.
She loves the fact that you use that, and she mentions it now every time we hear it.
Did you tell her I saw her on the big screen the other day?
We all told her, and she saw it. She did.
Okay. She was looking right at the camera, so I figured she saw it.
They recorded it. Once they saw the camera person come over, somebody recorded it, and she did see it. And quite a few people have stopped me. So that big screen, people do tend to be looking at it.
There's 40,000 San Diegans in there, so, know.
Good for her.
All right, let's get to the other side. More Gwynn and Chris.
Hands on the heart. Stay low. Oh, you idiot. Typical tandem student right there. I tried. I wrecked your good job, buddy. Fun, huh? You need help with anything? Okay, I'm nervous. Hands up, stay low. Hands on the heart.
Hour number 2 of our get-together here for a Thursday. Coming up at 5 o'clock, you'll get nothing but an hour of commercial-free Padre Talk, our weekly Padre Roundtable, hosted by Ben Higgins, and including myself and Scraby over there, and Woodsy, Braden Surprenant, and we broke it down. Padres tomorrow will play their 81st game of the season, officially reaching the halfway point, so that's coming up. We're going to do our daily gambit here in a second, take a look at some games and some results, but I thought it's interesting, Tony, this whole thing now that's going on, we're going to talk more in depth about this, but the thing that's happening in the NFL that has been broken open by our friend, not our friend, but
let's not give him that much credit.
No.
Pablo Torre?
Yeah, whose friend is he? Oh, Bill Belichick's friend. Pablo Torre.
No, I think Bill Belichick absolutely hates him.
I'm sure he does. But Pablo Torre and
by the way, Pablo's kind of calmed down on that whole story.
Right, he has, because he backed out for that one. Didn't work out.
He realized there wasn't a story there.
Yeah, it wasn't quite as salacious as he wanted.
No, but he may have made up for it here with this.
I think he might have.
And he and Mike Florio, they have obtained some documents that are quite damning to the National Football League ownership. And it has to do with collusion. Scraby and I discussed it for a little bit the other day, but I want to get a little more into it. And I think here's the most interesting thing to me, Tony, when we talk about this. Pretty obvious if you go through these documents that the owners have been engaging in collusion.
Right.
But the other part that I thought was interesting is B, the players' union knows it and has seen it and hasn't done anything about it. So why is that? Like, you would think that the union would be, hey, we caught you, man. Your hand's in the cookie jar. Here's the evidence. You're colluding.
It's because they didn't write the right language in the contract.
Well,
they said that they would have the burden to prove that the NFL was colluding. The NFLPA had to prove to everyone. They had to supply the evidence.
So you're saying that the union, all right, we'll talk about it a little more in a little bit, but you're saying that the union has tried to do something about it and has not been successful.
The only reason, from what I'm reading, because I'm really into this story for some reason, the only reason
Where did the actual story come from? I just saw the highlight, the video. Is the story attached to that?
You just type in NFLPA, you'll find a million stories about it. But NFL,
when did this
NFLPA,
break, by the way?
2 days ago.
Okay.
Maybe yesterday. We read Dean Spanos' text messages to Michael Bidwell yesterday.
Oh boy, those were damn.
When Michael Bidwell said, "Thanks, Dino,"
called him
really
Dino.
bothered me.
His buddy Dino.
But the NFL, the reason that they lost this from a lot of the experts out there is because of the language the NFLPA put into it. There's like one word in this contract that is like they have to provide evidence without a. We'll get it later, but yes, the reason they lost is because of the language.
Okay, well, whether they won or lost on the union side,
according to the pundits on
the experts,
okay.
Yeah, they're basically saying the NFL that we did find out that they were colluding together, but we can't really. We don't have a smoking gun.
Well, it's neither here nor there because the fact is now we all know that the ownership is slimier than maybe we even thought. So we'll get into that. But here's the other one. Now, the World Series of Poker may have had collusion as well in the final event, which was played earlier this week. So we'll talk about that also. Here's the thing. The gambling world, whether we tell you to stay away from it or not, it just dominates. It just dominates everywhere. So that's why we continue to do the gambit.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is immortal luck.
Washington! Woohoo! If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in the Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
Daily Gambit is our daily sports betting segment here on Gwynn and Chris. Please, everybody, gamble responsibly. Also, there's people in California that are trying to get rid of daily fantasy sports here in California. And, of course, the other guys on the other side are like, hey, wait. You can't get rid of that. Then you're going to have to get rid of scratchers and lotto, because daily fantasy, they say, is a game of chance because you're choosing which players have the best days.
Well, you can't get rid of the lottery because all the money goes to the schools, doesn't it?
Oh yes, I've seen so much.
That's how it was promoted. That's how it was promoted back in the day.
Schools. Yes,
vote for the lottery. We're going to give all of the excess money to the schools. Yeah, it's really happening.
You know what's funny is that going back to the NFL thing, like, do you remember right after Watson got the fully guaranteed deal?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then like there were a bunch of quarterbacks on the market at the same time. Jackson was one of them.
Kyler Murray.
No one even offered Lamar Jackson a contract.
That's
like
right.
didn't even like.
It's pretty obvious what was going on.
It's pretty obvious what is happening right at that point.
I mean, Michael Bidwell said it in his text. If Cleveland didn't do what they did, we wouldn't be in this situation.
100%. And they're mad at Haslam. You know they are all pissed at him. They're holding it over him, I'm sure. And that's the difference between because baseball once won, but the MLBPA once won a case.
Yes, they did.
They were able to prove, because I think they're all, regardless of the sport, it's all the same laws that they're under in terms of how they have to conduct business, right?
Yeah, that's the law in this country. You cannot work with another business to set the price, to set the,
Yes. Yeah.
You have to work individually from, each other independently.
And the MLB was able to prove that teams were colluding, and a bunch of people got extra money or the money that they were supposed to get.
Yeah.
And so, maybe the NFLPA is going to have to figure out a way to be able to prove it, because you could almost, even as they were being, what is the word when they're
investigated?
No, when they're on the stand, they're being
interrogated.
Yeah, something along those lines. Deposed. When they were being deposed, it was almost, when you read the quotes, it's almost smug. Like, of course we knew, or such that we didn't ever act on those type of. It was about the memo, Roger Goodell's memo, when he sent it out and was like, "Hey, we want basically encouraging them to stay away from fully guaranteed contracts."
Yeah.
And they had to admit that, we saw the memo, but we didn't act on it. And so as long as it's left into that realm, they're going to get off scot-free. You're going to have foolproof evidence that they acted on the memo and so on and so forth.
Real quick before we get into it, Chris, Tessa, great Scrabinator. By the way, we have a Scraby show 6 to 7 p.m. tonight. I work for a school district, and I can confirm we get funds from the lottery.
There it
awesome.
is.
So that is a good thing to know.
Well, then use them more wisely.
Oh, okay. Okay. Go for it, Chris.
Thank you. All right, we got Scraby 7-4. I'm 6-5. We haven't done a lot of picks this week. There's not much to choose from tonight. We do have the Mets and Braves playing in New York. Last night, Tony's favorite player, Juan Soto, a couple of home runs. 27th time that he's had a multi-home run game. Youngest ever to do that. So he continues to remind us of his great talent. Braves are favored, though, on the road tonight by 1.5 runs. Mets have been scuffling until last night. So, and they're tied with the Phillies now. The Phillies got swept by the Astros, by the way. Final score 2-1, which means the powerful, great hitting Phillies scored 1 run in all 3 games total. Just goes to show the Padres aren't the only team that go into funks.
I hope they stay in that funk for at least another week.
Yes, right. Padres will be there next week. All right, Grant Holmes against Griffin Canning are the pitching matchup. I'll take the Mets. They won last night. I think they're back on track. Scraby?
Grant Holmes is on a heater.
Okay.
He's on a heater.
Well,
and I love his hair.
Rob Beck.
You picking him?
He does look like Rod Beck. I'm going Braves.
I think he struck out 15 last week, but he will not be facing the Rockies tonight.
And they lost that game, by the way.
They did, yeah.
Tony? And Eniel De Los Santos is the guy who did it.
Well, all right. Tony, like Braves -1.5 or the Mets?
Give me the Braves.
You going Braves too? Okay. Over under 8.5 runs. Scraby. It's the
Over.
only game we have to choose from tonight. Over.
Over. It's very hot.
Yeah, because Grant Holmes is on a heater, so you're going to bet over. I get it.
I didn't say it made sense, Chris.
No, not much that you do does.
Are you under then?
I'm going under.
Yet. I'm going to go under too because Scraby, my friend, told me that Grant Holmes is on a heater. Who gets more total bases tonight? Ronald Acuna Jr. or Juan Soto? Total bases do not include walks for those that are wondering. This is all about singles, doubles, triples, home runs. Tony, who do you like here? More total bases, Acuna or Soto tonight?
Who's pitching for the Braves?
It is Grant Holmes and Griffin Canning for the Mets.
No, I'm sorry, Canning.
Yes, Canning.
Yeah, give me Soto.
Yeah, I figured. Well, I won't take Soto.
It's unfortunate.
I know it is. Cunha. Scrape.
I'm looking at Grant Holmes. He has cooled off since his 15 strikeouts.
Oh, he's not on a heater anymore. Is that what you're saying?
No. Against the Marlins last Saturday, he walked 5 and struck out 5.
That
5 2/3, but he still got the win. I'm gonna go with Acuna. He's been pretty good since he's been back.
You got him. Indiana Fever without Caitlin Clark, and that might be a good thing. Caitlin Clark has been really horrendous of late. Her last 3 games, she's shot like 2 for 30 from 3-point range, and now she's sitting out with an injury tonight. Fever home to LA Sparks. Indiana's still favored by 5.5. I think I go first. Come on, Kelsey Plum. I'll take the Sparks on the road. Scraby. Fever's 7-7. The Sparks are 4-11. If you're wondering. Fever for you. Okay. Tony.
I'm gonna go Sparks, baby.
Sparks it is. We got to talk about Caitlin Clark also. I don't know if we're going to have enough time in the show to get to everything, but that story just will never die with Caitlin Clark being involved with, all of this chicanery on the court and pushing and shoving and biting and
biting. Who's
not
biting?
But
I mean,
that was just a phrase that got away from me there. Sorry, no biting.
Caitlin Clark did
hair
get
pulling.
punched.
We've had some hair pulling.
Punched in the face.
She had an eye gouged. I wouldn't call that a punch.
Punch in the face.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I think this is the problem right here. The way we are talking about it.
Right. Yeah.
I heard she got punched in the face.
Look at the play and then you decide. It was not. All right, Las Vegas Aces -7. Washington is the opponent. Both teams have about the same record, but Vegas is at home. Scraby, -7. The Aces. The Mystics are the other side here.
I'm going to go Mystics.
Oh, all right.
This is a guess for him.
Yeah. Tony, you want to break it down analytically here?
I'm waiting for the Aces to get going here. They've been kind of lackluster. I'm taking the Aces on
this. They snapped a losing streak with a win the other night. I'll say the Aces. And finally, AJ Wilson of the Aces, -2 versus Kelsey Plum of Los Angeles. They're in different games, but how many points? Tony, you're first. You want AJ Wilson's points or you want Kelsey +2?
I want Asia's points.
Asia. Going against his own San Diegan there. I'll go Kelsey.
Sorry, Kelsey.
All right. Kelsey for me. And Scrape?
I will go Asia Wilson.
By the way, Tony, you would have loved this one the other day that Scraby. We're off the clock again. Sorry, Scrape. It's been that day.
It's a 16 we go.
It happens sometimes. But Scraby brought to our attention a video of Kelsey Plum walking. Was it onto the bus?
It was onto a team bus.
Onto the team bus.
Out of the hotel onto the
team bus. And there's some guy standing there with a book full of Kelsey Plum trading cards.
I saw that.
And she walks up and she's like, isn't there something wrong with this?
No, she said, don't you find it weird?
Right, that's what it was. Don't you find this weird, like that you're standing out here? And Scraby was none too pleased with Kelsey Plum for doing that, Tony. And I kind of agree with her.
You want more eyeballs on you?
Well,
you can't say no when you don't like it. Like,
all right, Tony, where do you come down on that? For
I mean, listen, there is a such thing like you can go to the arena and, do it while she's at work there. This is kind of like, I mean, it to me, it's no different than showing up to someone's house, like standing outside waiting for them to come out and,
Let me ask you this, Tony: when the Padre players walk from the hotel to the bus, do they run into fans?
They do.
Okay, and what do they do? Just in general,
do they go? This is weird.
Well, I don't know.
I first, some grace here. Maybe this is not completely new to the WNBA in terms of people like outside of their hotels,
right,
waiting for autographs. That being said, it happens a lot, and to be frank, not most of the time when it's there are occasions where guys sign, but a lot of times this is their home away from home. So they get on the bus, they say, "Hey, I'll sign at the yard," and guys sign at the yard.
Maybe that's what Kelsey can learn from that.
Well,
say, "I'll sign at the yard" and move on.
Yeah, I agree that waiting outside someone's hotel for however long,
because to me what she said is accurate. It is weird that you're waiting out there.
I'm sorry to say this, she's not allowed
to
be offended because she is the player and a star player.
I think you're offended. I don't know that she was offended when she was like, isn't this weird? I mean, this is kind of like,
she said it turned her off.
My dad used to, I had to catch myself there, used to give people a hard time
right
on situations like, now he would eventually sign it.
Yes, he would, but he would mention something.
He definitely wanted you to know
right
how he was feeling about it at the time.
Yes, he did.
And I think that's fine. He didn't go, this is weird.
I think he did. I think he said this is weird.
It was his way of saying it was weird at the time. He just didn't use those particular words. He had the same sentiment though.
And let me be clear, I don't hate Kelsey Plum.
No, I didn't say you
like
did.
I did.
No, I
but
didn't say you did.
Yeah,
I think and she ended up signing the autograph.
Okay, what timeout? Then see, you left that part out completely.
Oh yeah, she did sign one. Yeah,
it's the same exact thing. Then I thought she got on the bus and was like, "This is weird. This is making me uncomfortable." Blah blah blah. Blah. She actually signed.
No, she did come over and sign, and the guy said thank you. But the guy was also the whole situation was strange. I agree, but sometimes you just can't say that.
It is strange. Tony's dad got asked for an autograph walking from a ballpark that he had just been ejected from the game back to his hotel across the street because there was no clubhouse at that minor league field.
Yeah.
And he was in his cleats and his uniform, and some lady came running up with a Wheaties box.
Yeah, that is also very...
And he,
poor timing.
He did it, but he did have to point out that this is a little weird.
Right, at dinners, at movie theaters. We stopped going to movie theaters. I mean, like, but I'm saying, where is it in? Like, how do you know
when you're officially with your team and you're doing team related things? I think it's totally fine. When you were at dinner, when you were at the grocery store, when you were at the movie theater.
How about if you're down in the lobby of the hotel in the room where the team is meeting and you're having some food?
Oh no, that's a no. That's a private thing.
Well, you said as long as they're with the team, it's okay.
Okay, well that's a private thing. Like you can't just walk into their breakfast and be like, "Hey, could I get an autograph?"
You're arbitrarily deciding what is good or not.
That's what you are. I'm saying when it's work related, like her walking to the bus, it's a little bit more acceptable than
work
someone
has not started yet. Walking to the bus,
coming up to you at dinner and being like, "Can I get an autograph?" I think that's extremely rude.
I think that the point is that she ended up signing. I think that's really the ultimate point is that she signed. She just had to let my man know, hey, man, you got 27 cards of me at the same card.
Okay,
this is
the way you put it is a little strange.
This is a little weird. Just
that
saying.
Is.
We got to get to break. We're way past.
We're with you, Kelsey. Timeout on the floor. More Gwynn and Chris after traffic.
From the 8th.
And now, the challenger, representing the San Diego Padres, number 20, Kyle Higashioka. ends the round with 7 home runs. And he has earned a trip to the semifinal matchup. Now the challenger in the semifinal matchup, number 20, Kyle Higashioka. No problem on that one. And it's gone. That one carried on to Lansdowne. That one is gone. He now has bonus time. Just 1 minute remaining. No question about that one. And half it up to put up in the championship matchup. And that ends the round. Finishes. Let's see what he can do. And now, the challenger in this championship round, Kyle Higashioka. That one carried on to Lansdowne. That one is gone. And he's earned 30 seconds of bonus time. Just 1 minute remaining. That draw off the right pole. There's a home run. Seconds left. Another home run. Into the circle. Oh, that's a monster home run. Make it 9 home runs. And now, the challenger, representing the San Diego Padres, number 20, Kyle Higashioka. Oh, that's a monster home run. That's a home run. He's earned 30 seconds of bonus time. That one carried on to Lansdowne. Just 1 minute remaining. 4 in a row now. In out of here. That one up into the monster seat. Another home run. And that ends the round. He ends the round with 7 home runs. And he has earned a trip to the semifinal matchup. Now the challenger in this semifinal matchup, number 20, Kyle Higashioka. No doubt about that one. And it's gone. That one carried on to Lansdowne. That one is gone. He now has bonus time.
Really nice today. And
We are very
we
lucky.
shouldn't take it for
'Cause
granted.
the rest of this place, I can tell you where I'm at, the Midwest, East, all under like extreme heat right now.
Heat advisory.
But the good thing, Tony, no humidity, so you're fine.
Yeah, that's a joke.
Where are you located right now in your studio? Are you like downtown area?
No. I took like 35, 40 minutes to
Oh,
get
my
up over
goodness.
here.
I think
With
I know.
traffic.
I think I kind of know where you're at. There's a White Castle nearby, isn't there?
I think I might have seen a White Castle.
That's like
I'm
saying,
telling
that's like
you.
saying there's a Starbucks
No,
nearby.
no. I used to
When you're
live
in Cincinnati. There's a White Castle everywhere.
When I lived there in Cincinnati, there's a White Castle next to a radio station, and I walked into the radio station once a week asking for a job, and they asked me to stop walking in and send in my resume online. So
Stop coming in here, please.
they're like, "We've already told you we don't do the hiring here. You need to put it online."
We have a very short segment here. So what exactly was the plan here in terms
Well,
of
I think
the
we can
NFL?
update,
Do we have enough time for the NFL?
Well, let's at least no, we don't. We're going to do it at 4:00.
Yeah, 4
today.
o'clock.
We're going to get into that the collusion, the NFL collusion case, which is going to be blowing up even bigger and bigger. I think so. We'll get to that. But let's get two quick news items, and then we'll go on. Tony, one, Wander Franco, the disgraced young Tampa Bay Rays shortstop, was found guilty today of sexual abuse of a minor in the Dominican Republic. He gets a suspended 2-year prison sentence. And did you say something else, Greg? No, you said
yeah, the mother.
It's a 2-year prison sentence, but it's suspended.
Yes,
which means he's basically on probation for those 2 years.
Correct.
If he does anything at all, then he goes right to jail.
Yes.
Correct.
So now does this? I don't know. I'm looking too far ahead.
He's not allowed.
Any baseball?
He needs a work visa. I was reading Jeff Passan just now. He needs a work visa. It's likely not to be approved because of the conviction.
Okay.
So he probably won't be able to play in Major League Baseball because he can't get into the country legally.
Yes. But he has called the Cleveland Browns and is seeing if there's an opening there.
Man.
Sorry. That was low-hanging fruit.
Initially when you said Browns, I was like, he must have meant Guardians.
No,
And
I meant the
kinda-
Browns.
No, I figured as I let my mind kind of work through it, it was like, oh no,
Yeah.
that was a little shot.
Also, another disgraced athlete, Justin Tucker, former Baltimore Ravens kicker, has been suspended by the NFL for 10 weeks. He doesn't have employment at the moment.
So does that mean that he did something? That they're suspending him? Is this an admission of guilt?
No, remember the NFL doesn't. You don't have to be convicted of anything for them. To
True,
suspend
but
you.
in their individual findings, did they find that he did this stuff, and
We don't
that's
know.
why?
we haven't heard from their report yet.
Has there been has any of the legal proceedings in that begun?
I don't think there
I don't
are
think
any.
there are any.
Oh, there
legal
are none.
proceedings.
No.
Yeah.
Well, so all right.
I'm gonna have to
One of the
look at this.
massage therapists said, "I don't think it's enough," and said Tucker's agent, "We're disappointed with the decision." So you could have
Imagine
expected
being
those
that guy
comments.
defending Justin Tucker.
Well, they're going to continue to claim that all of this was made up, and who are we to ever know for sure? I don't know that we ever will. All right, that was
I
it.
didn't
for the
know where to go
short-
with that.
That was it. Yeah, there's nowhere
else.
else. Well, we've kind of kicked it around a bunch of times. Short segments over. Tom.
He is going to be able to serve his suspension while not being under contract with a team. So if he goes 10 weeks without a team, he's just off suspension. Someone could sign him off the street.
There you go.
Again, hello Browns. They might as well get them all.
Do they need a kicker?
They might by then.
Let's
don't
get
know.
to break. On the other side, little 30-mile zone coming your way. We'll see what Mr. Scraby has in store for us. More Gwynn and Chris on the other side.
Coming up. Chris, hello. Yeah, we're here in Cooperstown for 97.3 The Fan. So excited, the induction weekend for the great Trevor Hoffman. What a class he's going in with, too. Let's take a look. Of course, Alan Trammell from Kearney High School in San Diego. And then, of course, the Detroit Tigers, great shortstop. Jack Morris in a Tiger uniform there, but I always remember him pitching that 1-0 shutout in Game 7 of the 1991 World Series for the Minnesota Twins. Maybe the greatest postseason pitching performance of all time. Chipper Jones, Padre fans remember him. Every fan of a National League team remembers him because he would come in and do damage to that team. Only the second #1 overall pick in the Major League Draft, Chipper Jones, to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. The other is Ken Griffey Jr. Vladimir Guerrero. Never met a pitch he couldn't swing at. And powerhouse hitter for the Expos and then, of course, the Angels at the end of his career. Jim Thome, over 600 home runs, mostly with the Cleveland Indians. And then, oh, yeah, the guy down here on the end who used to get all these guys out all the time, Trevor Hoffman, the greatest Padre reliever of them all. Two of the greatest outfielders in the history of baseball. Of course, you've got Babe Ruth right here. Ted Williams right over there. I was wondering who the third outfielder would be. And then, of course, it hit me. Tony would be upset if I didn't say that the third outfielder, who will someday probably be displayed right here between these two guys, is obviously Mike Trout. And this is the San Diego Padres locker room here in Cooperstown. Obviously, a couple of jerseys there and hats, gloves, all-star stuff. I think the most interesting thing in this entire display, though, especially this weekend, is a picture in the top corner of Angus Young. He's the guitarist for AC/DC, wearing a Trevor Hoffman uniform, obviously playing Hell's Bells. I know that Trevor went to many AC/DC concerts and was honored by sitting in the front row to watch AC/DC play Hell's Bells in his honor. But there's a picture of Angus Young playing Hell's Bells for Trevor Hoffman, wearing the 51 jersey right there. Chris, hello. Yeah, we're here in Cooperstown for 97.3 The Fan. So excited, the induction weekend for the great Trevor Hoffman. What a class he's going in with, too. Let's take a look. Of course, Alan Trammell from Kearney High School in San Diego. And then, of course, the Detroit Tigers, great shortstop. Jack Morris in a Tiger uniform there, but I always remember him pitching that 1-0 shutout in Game 7 of the 1991 World Series for the Minnesota Twins. Maybe the greatest postseason pitching performance of all time. Chipper Jones, Padre fans remember him. Every fan of a National League team remembers him because he... To do it, we go. 3:36. Chris Ello here. Matt Scraby here. Tony Gwynn Jr. in the Queen City, Cincinnati, Ohio. Padres doing absolutely nothing today, but they have just moments ago moved into sole possession of second place in the National League West. The Giants lose again to the Miami Marlins. Marlins complete the sweep. 12-5 was the final today. Devers did homer for San Fran, but
What enough, huh?
Yeah, the old best laid plans, Tony, right? The Giants were the ones that went out. Big deal. Devers, it's a little too early to rate the trade, but they've lost 4 of 6. So it's early in the Devers process, but they do get swept by the Marlins. Giants are on their way to face the White Sox this weekend. So Padres better be on their P's and Q's. Dodgers beat the Rockies 3-1 today. They complete a sweep, which is not a shock to anybody. The Rockies officially reached the halfway point at 18-63, which puts them on pace for 36 wins, which would be the worst season ever. Last night, Scraby brought this up, but this encapsulates the Rockies. That starts raining in the 6th inning of a scoreless game, 2 on for the Dodgers. Max Muncy hits a routine pop-up on the infield to ostensibly end the inning. The second baseman, I think it was Tyro Estrada's, looking into the raindrops, trying to see the ball. Michael Toglia, the first baseman, is not looking up. He's looking over at the second baseman to watch him make the catch. Well, the ball almost landed on Tolia's head at first base. I mean, that's how badly Estrada had misjudged it. And, of course, 2 runs scored on the play, and the Dodgers went on to win last night.
This was yesterday, right?
That was yesterday's game.
I got to pull this up because
it is kind of comical because Tolia's like, whoa.
It sounds comical.
Yeah, the ball just bounces right next to him, and he's away. I mean, these are the Rockies.
By the way, I went back and looked at the Flores deal. Like, what was he so upset? He punched out. He was so mad. Starting like getting benches cleared.
I think Scraby's trying to stir something up.
No, he definitely caused people to come out.
Okay. You didn't understand what he was upset. Okay. Didn't see it. But down go the Gigantes.
Of course, they don't have the clip readily available. So
the Max Muncy. It's Muncy popping up. I don't know what they would call it, a 2-run single by Muncy, but Muncy hit another grand slam last night as well, his second in a few days.
I don't like it. He's heating up.
Are actually working for him.
He's been much better the last month or so. All right, let's check some traffic, make sure everybody gets around okay out there, and then Scraby's going to take us to the 30-mile zone.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danek.
Traffic is brought to you by the Salute to Heroes Golf Tournament, July 28th at Loma Santa Fe Country Club. Got a few things going on here, guys. One of them is this crash on northbound 125 right before Otay Lakes. This appears to be blocking the fast lane. Several vehicles involved. Also stalled SUV, partially blocking the Via de San Isidro off-ramp, northbound 5. And in the North County, eastbound 78 before Nordall Road, 2 vehicle accident over to the right shoulder. The Salute to Heroes Golf Tournament is back July 28th at Loma Santa Fe Country Club. Join sport legends and celebrities and tee off to support local heroes. Register now at SanDiegoSocialLeagues.org. That's SanDiegoSocialLeagues.org. I'm Kelly Danek with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
If you don't know your sports gossip, can you really call yourself a sports fan? It's time to bring together sports and celebrity gossip. We call it the 30-mile zone, mainly so we don't get sued by the real company. On 97.3 The Fan.
All right, we're gonna
real quick. I went and looked at the video. It is quite hilarious. In Tolia's defense, because the way Chris described it, was the ball was in there and he's just looking
staring at the second baseman. Well, the second baseman's looking in the air like, where did it go?
He initially, Tolia does look up for it, but he can't find it from the very
beginning. So he just gives up.
He gives up,
it, yeah.
And he's looking at the ball literally almost hit him in his head. Like it bounced in front of him.
I loved it.
It was hilarious. At some point, they both, if you froze the video, they're both like this in different areas with their hands
over their head,
yeah.
like protecting themselves.
Yeah, that's going to be a
Rockies are going to rock.
It's going to be a long video at the end of the year of Colorado Rockies.
When they describe the 2025 Rockies, that clip will 100% be one of the clips they show.
Yeah, pretty sure.
All right, let's get into it. So
here?
we're going to go sports, and then we're going to get into this mega wedding that's happening in Italy with Jeff Bezos and his fiance.
Oh, here he goes. He's down on his soapbox.
He's just my goodness.
He's just upset.
You're
upset you didn't get invited? What does it matter?
No, I'm upset that we'll talk about why I'm upset. Because this is I don't quote Bernie Sanders often, but he said this is absurd, and it is.
All right,
obscenely absurd.
All right, wait your turn. Get the other stuff in.
Let's start with Ace Bailey. He was drafted by the Utah Jazz last night in the NBA draft, and everybody was kind of surprised because a report emerged from ESPN before the draft saying that the team was not on his list of preferred destinations, and he had his fingers crossed that the Nets, Pelicans, or Wizards would draft him. The Jazz drafted him anyway, and here is what he had to say about being drafted by the Jazz.
Ace, there was a lot of speculation to build up in your draft process. You know, you seem pretty happy to me to be going to Utah. What do you say to people that maybe just don't believe that?
I mean, I control what I control, so how they feel. But to my team and me, me focusing on the basketball and them doing what they're doing, so it happens.
He didn't actually answer the question, or he didn't actually dispel any rumors that he didn't want to go there.
Somebody told him no matter what they ask you, just say that you and your team are really excited about the season.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, no matter what they say. I thought that Ace Bailey was only the second most interesting selection in the draft yesterday from Rutgers. And I'll tell you why. Tony, you're going to laugh at this one. The second pick in the draft last night after Cooper Flagg
Harper, right?
Was a guy named Dylan Harper, also from Rutgers.
Oh, gosh, I sent you guys a text earlier. That's why, Tony.
Yeah, that's why he sent that. Scraby went scrambling to find a little bio information on Dylan Harper.
I wanted to find out if he was Ron Harper's son, which
yes,
he did.
You did find that out eventually.
He is Ron Harper's son.
You did find that eventually. But before you found that out, you also found that there's an adult film actress with the same name.
Yes.
And Scraby ended up on her webpage.
That's why I texted you guys that tweet, because Bill Simmons broke it down.
I loved it, Scraby.
And yes.
I didn't know what that tweet was. I was like, why is he sending me Bill Simmons stuff?
Yeah, no, that was why, because the certainly came up on some not safe for work photos yesterday.
He didn't send us one of those, but he did send us a picture of the other Dylan Harper. So
yes,
thank you for clearing that up.
Thank you.
Yes, that is funny though. I did hear about that from a couple friends. Like, oh, hey, now we know who your favorite is. I'm like, hey, I didn't even know. I just typed in the name. Okay. So yeah, Ace Bailey. What do you think, Tony? Do you think?
I think we don't actually know. This is what happens in these situations, right? It was rumored. We know that he canceled his workout with the 76ers, but then it began a rumor that he had just been canceling all workouts. And then there was a rumor that he wanted money to attend a workout or something along those lines. We don't actually know. And I think Chris is 100% right. I think he was coached up. And remember, this is a 19-year-old, 20-year-old kid coming out of 1 year of college basketball.
I don't know how many years, but yeah, he's young.
He's
young.
A freshman.
So I mean, like,
yeah, give him credit. He got through it.
He's not trained at doing this very often, and I'm sure if he has success in this league, he'll get better and better and better. I mean, let's look at Anthony Edwards. As raw as Anthony Edwards is, he was even rawer his rookie year. Like he's got a little bit of polishing, and I think all these guys work through it. Go back to look at Giannis Antetokounmpo. He was not very good when he had to get in front of the camera his first year. Now he's got charisma. He's got all that stuff. That comes later. But all in all, congratulations to the young man.
Yes. Next story before we get into the wedding. This is a really sad one, and I'm just bringing it up because I want to bring awareness. But Dwight Howard's dog was killed in an alleged hit and run over the weekend. So apparently what happened, he wants the public's help because he said that the person hit his dog and then drove off. Can't find who it is. He said, I need answers, and I won't stop searching until I find out what happened to my beautiful Sunday. And he has all these pictures with his dog. He looks very happy with his dog. Makes me kind of want to cry a little bit right now. He said in a post, you were my peace, my protector, a reminder of everything beautiful and calm, just like those early Sunday mornings. And here's a picture, Chris, with him kissing his cute dog. And
yeah, I don't
really
even like to imagine this stuff.
It looks kind of like a German Shepherd a little bit, maybe a Shepherd mix, but it's very sad. And again, I'm bringing this up because people are mean and horrible and all the above.
Unfortunately, you can find stories like this too often.
Yeah.
No good.
All right, next one.
Stop doing that out there, people, please.
Yes. Another terrible story. Dylan, the villain, might have found who the actual villain is in his family, and it's his wife, or the mother of his children, I should say.
What?
Yes. He filed for
This is very TMZ for you.
Yes, Dylan Brooks filed for a temporary restraining order in LA Wednesday, saying that Heather Andrews, who shares a 5-year-old and 2-year-old with, has destroyed his belongings, hacked into his social media accounts, and even once threatened to cut off his fingers. And he has the text messages to prove it. She said in one of the messages, I'll have someone cut each one of your bleeping little fingers off one by one so you can never play basketball, LOL. And actually, yeah, I'm not even going to read the rest of that.
LOL.
Yeah, she said LOL.
That is funny. Boy, I'm going to...
So you can never play basketball, all caps, LOL.
Hilarious.
And you know what? I'm just going to throw her under the bus because she texted it. And she goes on to say in that text, and actually now I understand why people are racist. So you could hear a little bit of what this person is all about. She said, I'm going to have you hurt. Anyway, long story short, he's filed a restraining order against him, and it's not a good situation for him whatsoever. And sounds
is there a question in here?
No. No, I'm just bringing it up.
Thank you, Scrappy, for bringing that up. It is. I don't know what kind of guy Dylan the villain is off the court, right? Is anybody?
Wait, I'm sorry. He said his lead into this was Dylan the villain may have found out who the real villain is.
That was a good lead-in.
Wow.
Yeah. That was a good lead-in.
Okay.
Maybe this is why he's so angry on the court. He goes home and the mother of his children is threatening to cut off his fingers so he can't play basketball anymore. LOL.
Yeah, that's diabolical.
She sounds pretty diabolical. She sounds a little batty.
I would like to get to know Dylan the villain a little. Like, is he a bad guy or is he just a really good guy that goes out on the court and takes on a persona?
I can't answer that, Chris.
Yeah, I'm not
I
sure.
don't know him either.
These type of issues, man, when you start when these two worlds collide here, it can get a little ugly at times.
Certainly can.
This certainly seems like it's headed down that direction.
Yeah, it does. All right, Jeff Bezos' wedding.
He's been dying to get to this.
Wait, can we get one more in before that?
Yeah, go for it.
Because I just saw this again. I saw it about a week ago. If you haven't seen it,
this is a breaking news segment, Chris.
I know, but I'm calling your attention to this. Find the video of Adrien Peterson getting in a fight with another guy while they're playing poker. It is out of control, number one. Number two, Adrien Peterson takes the worst of it, at least from what you can see on camera. And watch the video because you'll laugh. But I understand, Tony, if you saw the video, they got angry with each other during an actual, just a poker hand. Something happened that upset them to the point where they were throwing blows. And then when it was over, they went back and finished their game of poker. But
what? They finished it?
They did.
That's how it used to go down back in the day.
They just fought it out, and then they went back and sat down and finished up. But you need to see this video. You'll get a good chuckle.
All right.
Because Adrien takes one right on the kisser.
Right on the kisser.
He does. Yeah.
Pow, right in the kisser.
Yeah. All right, go ahead.
That was worth it, Chris. Thank you.
That was fun.
Jeff Bezos or Bezos. I don't even care how his name is pronounced, but the people
You should pronounce this man's name right.
the people of Venice are very unhappy with him.
Venice, Italy, not Venice.
Yes, not California.
Right.
Okay.
Venice, Italy. They put up a big sign because his wedding was supposed to be there, and then he had to relocate because so many people were angry. But it says, if you can rent Venice for your wedding, you can pay more tax. And I agree with that 1,000%. Jeff Bezos is net worth is $227 billion. Apparently, upwards of 90 private planes are flying in for this wedding. It's going to cost between $23 and $34 million, according to sources. And
It's going to cost who that much?
Bezos, yeah, which is nothing to him, obviously.
Okay.
But where did he? Oh, I had. What's his face? Bernie Sanders' comments, and I don't have them anymore.
That was the whole idea of this story, was to get Bernie's
By the way,
comments.
Tom Brady is going to the wedding. I don't know why Tom needs to go to the wedding.
Oh, so he can't. Tom's now allowed to go to the wedding. Got invited.
Correct.
Say, nah, man, I can't come. Screaming.
Why would Tom Brady need to go to this wedding? Why?
Perhaps
All right. So
invited.
Bernie Sanders said it's obscene oligarchy. And he had a real tax rate, and I know we're getting into weird waters here.
Yes, we are.
He had a weird tax rate of 1.1%, but he said they should. He said, while 60% live paycheck to paycheck and kids go hungry, Jeff Bezos, worth $230 billion, goes to Venice on his $500 million yacht for a $20 million wedding and spends $5 million on a ring, while his real tax rate is just 1.1%. And this oligarchy, says Bernie Sanders. So the claim actually,
Bernie's tweet or comment had less to do with the actual wedding than
Right.
it
He
did
just wants
with
rich people to pay bigger taxes.
okay, well, I had to bring up the wedding to get into this conversation.
But that had nothing to do with the wedding, though. But go ahead.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. You know what? I don't want to go political at all.
I think you kind of do. Honestly.
No, I don't, and that's the worst. But here's my point. I'm looking at a picture of Bernie Sanders' residence. He's doing okay too. So, these people that are critical of rich people, normally a lot of them are very rich themselves. They're not looking in the mirror very well. But let's move past that, hopefully.
His house is like relatively small.
Okay.
It's a reasonable house.
Okay.
Relatively.
You think
small.
Bernie Sanders is scrounging for cash?
I do not. No.
Okay.
No.
So I think it's kind of, I think it's a little.
But do you think a guy who makes $230 billion?
Here's what I think of a person who makes $230 billion. Okay, here's what I think of that.
What?
There are 8 billion people on this earth. Jeff Bezos could easily give each of us $1 billion. No?
Say that one more time.
Okay, wait.
I thought there was
billion. Right.
Wait a minute. Wait. No, my math is.
How many people are in the world?
8 billion.
8 divided by 230.
Right. So he could give us all a lot of money.
I'm not saying that he has to give us money.
He settled on a lot of money.
Yeah, we have to go to a lot of money.
It's a real Matt Scravy move right there.
That was a Matt Scravy move.
Like, once I start panicking live on the air, I just go in a different direction.
Yeah, that was a good save.
I know that, yes, he can do whatever he wants, but I just think it is obscene amount of money to be spending $34 million on a wedding.
It's not to him.
And the carbon footprint of 90 private jets flying in there.
Why you save the carbon footprint for last? You should have led with that.
Should have led with that. We're not going to do Chris versus fans on the other side. We're actually going to talk about this NFL collusion. So stick with us. Back shortly, 97.3 The Fan.
Welcome into Gwynn Chris. 4 o'clock on the dial, 7 o'clock here in Cincinnati. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Sello, Matt Scraby. If you love Mediterranean food, try Spiro's for authentic Mediterranean cuisine in Coronado or La Jolla. For dining or takeout options, visit spiroscuisine.com. All right, NFL. While I've had my head plugged in the baseball hole, I did not know that some of this news had broke about the NFL until earlier today. And it seems like this news broke after the fact because it's already kind of been litigated at this point. The NFL would go on to win the case. But it was interesting it only proved what we have been talking and thinking to ourselves for quite some time, that there is some form of collusion happening. Now, it doesn't mean enough to be convicted in the court of law, of business law, and how we conduct things in the United States. But there's definitely some funny business going on, and this was only proof of that, gentlemen.
Well, the big question that is being asked is, you're right, Tony, nobody's even asking or questioning whether or not there is or has been collusion between the owners in the National Football League. Yesterday, Scraby read a conversation between Michael Bidwell, dumb owner of the Cardinals, and Dino.
Who, by the way, we've read plenty of reports about in terms of his own employees and how they feel about how he conducts himself.
Correct. And then his best buddy, apparently, Dino Spanos, who the well-loved owner of the Chargers.
Right.
So they went back and forth and basically talked about, thanking each other for, being careful in contracts.
Here's what
Dean Spanos basically said, thank you for not guaranteeing too much money to Kyler Murray, because that will make it easier for me to sign Justin Herbert.
Yeah, here's the text messages from Dean. To Bidwell. Congratulations on signing Murray. Bidwell. Thanks, Dino. These quarterback deals are expensive, but we limited the fully guaranteed money and have some pretty good language. Thankfully, we have a quarterback that's worth paying. Dean says, your deal helps us for our next quarterback. And then Bidwell says, I think many teams will be happy with it once they have a chance to review. Cleveland really screwed things up, but I was resolved to keep the guaranteed money relatively low. That's their text conversation that was released.
All right. But that, okay, so that's that. So we know that the collusion is there. And now everybody, if they hadn't thought about it already, now everyone else can know. But the big question that's being asked by these guys who broke this story, and I think it's a fair question, Pablo Torre and Mike Florio, is that the collusion stuff was ruled upon, apparently, and it was all having to do with contracts being guaranteed and discussed during the March 2022 annual owners meeting.
Yes.
So the fact of the matter is 3 years have gone by, 3 years plus have gone by since then, and no one has been made aware of it at all until Pablo Torre and his people exposed this to everybody. So the question goes back to, once again, why would I can see why the owners kept this secret. They don't want everybody to know, the dirt going on in their own house. But why did the Players Association keep it quiet, not say anything to anybody? They could have screamed from the mountaintops.
They probably couldn't because of the legal stuff happening.
Yeah. Well, okay, you're giving them the all right. I don't see that being an answer, honestly.
I think once
and that's what this article says, is they should have been shouting it from the rooftops. So anyway, go ahead.
Maybe they should have been shouting it from the rooftops when it was happening.
Okay.
I think it's clear that NFLPA is not all pulling the rope in the same direction.
Fair enough.
Right? Because when the collective bargaining agreement came up, how many guys ended up not even signing it and being a part of it?
Yeah,
it was a
not
lot.
Voting for it.
It was a lot. And so, a PA can only be as good as the members that are in it and that are willing to participate. And it's hard when, and this is the tough part, and this is starting to happen in baseball too, right? Is that you have the upper echelon of guys who really are immune from a lot of it because of how much money they're making, and then you got the rest of everybody else, the kind of working file cap type of cats, and that is, I don't want to say it's the goal, but that is what is happening, right? Is they have it set up now where the top 2% are going to get theirs, and then they crunch the middle, and those are the guys who end up getting jobbed in the end. But that is the majority of your league. And so when you start getting into the PA side of things, like, what does that look like? You got the top 2-3% that feel like, hey, everything's good on our end. And if they're not willing to give a little bit for the rest of the main group, that's when it gets tricky.
I would think the upper 2 or 3% would be the ones most interested in all of this, because it's really affecting their contracts. The rank and file guys are a lot easier to do contracts with. They all pretty much get similar stuff.
Yeah, no, but that's not true though. I think, it does affect their contracts, but at the end of the day, they're making enough money where it doesn't have a major impact on them. Whereas the middle class of the everything, that's the cats that are getting cut out and don't have the same type of guarantees in their deal. And so, that's where baseball, I think, has always done a better job, is that the upper percentage of the league always looked out for what is happening in the middle. And so, they were willing to sacrifice some things on their end so that it could be bigger. It could be a better for everybody. And that's
baseball.
That's the thing that you look at the NFL often is like, they've had guys who were willing to cross when they were on strike, guys that were actually a part of the league. That weakens the camaraderie and togetherness that you need in order to really take on ownership that have all of the means to make it work. If you don't have that piece of it, they can keep you divided the whole time.
And the other side of that, NFL owners have always actually been together.
Always.
Don't forget that they all came together in the 60s to determine that they would share revenue from television. That is one of the things that has made the NFL so much more powerful.
I was getting ready to say that's the other thing that the NFL that's different, right? Is the NFL owners seem to be all on accord. Yeah. And they've been that way forever. I mean, even from that standpoint, like, in terms of being an owner in the NFL, I think that's probably why it's one of the hardest leagues to get involved in, because you get one owner that's not in the same mind, and that is like, oh, I think guarantees would be great. That would just destroy everything that they have built. Whereas in baseball, you always get an owner in there that's like, nah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it my way, and you just gonna have to deal with it, right? And so, I think that's the other thing that the NFL has going for in terms of owner side, is that those owners, they don't go against one another.
One thing that concerns me, or that maybe hasn't been, I don't know if I saw it in the article or not, but are the NFL owners even smart for colluding amongst themselves under the risk of being caught?
No.
Well, the reason I say that is because nothing can ruin the NFL, right? They're so powerful. And each of these owners is making billions and billions, I imagine.
I think that
so. Why would they risk a couple of guaranteed contracts to maybe, get themselves in a situation where some court did rule against them and weaken their position considerably?
You mean in terms of talking to each other about it?
Yeah. Why even do it in the first place? Why are they? What are they? I mean, they're basically, it sounds like they're pinching pennies compared to the dollars that they have.
It's sometimes, in some ways, arrogance plays a part into why you are even having a conversation about it in the first place. Like, I mean, in some ways, I guess you got to make sure that everybody's on the same page every once in a while. It's like, hey, man, thanks for keeping those dollars down. That's going to make it easier on me. Wink, wink.
Wink,
right?
Thanks, Dino.
Thanks, Dino. Right?
Well, maybe they should just kick the Cleveland guy out of the league. I mean, because he's the one guy that apparently was willing to go another route that they didn't like.
Yeah.
So one of the things I found very interesting.
The last time they let another owner in that they
don't Check him out.
I thought this was really interesting because Russell Wilson was he had to testify, which I think was what we were looking for earlier, and not depose but testify. But he said when he was in
I think the owners were deposed because they had to.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So,
yes. But Wilson testified that when he was being traded from the Seahawks to the Broncos, he requested from the Broncos a 7-year fully guaranteed contract worth around $50 million a year while the team was working on that trade. Wilson testified that the team didn't blink when told his initial request during trade talks, and they kept saying, we'll do whatever it takes. However, after he was traded and waived his no trade clause to go to the Broncos, Denver started getting cold feet on giving the quarterback a fully guaranteed deal.
Someone started talking like, "Hey, man, we might be thinking about this guaranteed deal with Wilson." They're like, "What?
Yeah,
you can't do that."
Exactly. And then they're like, "Oh, you know what? We know we kind of promised you,
or
but...
if you do that, we'll do this." That's one of those type of deals.
Yes.
And so they backed out. All right. Well, this is going to be a developing story. We'll see if it's continuing to develop.
I'm just proud of Pablo S. Torre, the guy who wrecked the Belichick story and embarrassed himself. Was able to bounce back strongly on this one. Good for you, Pablo.
You miss 100% of this jumpers you don't take. You took the jumper, it didn't work the first time. Took another one, netted it. All right, let's get to break. When we come back,
we got our soccer interview.
Yeah,
talk about the big win last
or
night.
Zivin.
We're gonna talk, or I'm gonna ask him before we go.
We have a guy on his name. I think coming up next, Jeff Bezos, isn't it?
Oh no! I've already been criticized that I should know how to pronounce his name. But yes, we're gonna have Apple TV's MLS analyst on with us.
All right. Here's some traffic. More Gwynn and Chris on either side.
From the
Matt Scraby is here. Jake Zivin is here. MLS play-by-play. What a night last night for SDFC, people. They go on the road, take down first place Vancouver in the kind of soccer match that I can appreciate, Scraby. 8 goals were put up on the board.
That's pretty good.
I love it. 5-3 SDFC. Alaski, the young man from San Diego, scores 4 goals and puts SDFC into first place in the Western Conference. Jake Zivin, play-by-play voice, MLS. Hi, Jake. How are you, man? We're doing pretty well here, as you might imagine.
I imagine. Absolutely. I'm doing well. Really fun game last night in Vancouver. And, man, what a show that San Diego put on. Big statement from San Diego FC.
Jake, I want to, before we get into SDFC, I want to kind of go talk a little bit about your journey. I mean, you kind of started like a lot of people. You started from the bottom in terms of your broadcasting career. You started an entry-level employee at ESPN. You are now doing play-by-play broadcasting. I mean, what advice would you give to people who want to follow your same type of path?
Oh, man. Well, first of all, it's so different now, right? I mean, I graduated college in 2007. After doing that for ESPN, running the bug on the screen and games, I went to Butte, Montana for my first job out of college, the NBC station in Butte, Montana. But you don't have to do that anymore, right? I mean, now you can create a YouTube channel or a TikTok and kind of get your reps and become a commentator or just, like a sports personality. You couldn't do it back then. That didn't exist. But number one advice, just get as many reps as you can. Get in front of a microphone or a camera in whatever way it is. Find your voice. Get good at that, at being on camera or being in front of a microphone.
And I think stick-to-itiveness, huh, Jake? I mean, because all of us have been knocked down about a dozen times on the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And be willing to do anything. Again, Butte, Montana, I knew nothing about it. I'm from Chicago. Yeah, I'll take the job. First job offered to me out of college. Was so excited. And, man, it worked out well.
Yeah, our producer here, Scraby, is doing much of that. He's, putting up with us on a daily basis just so he can further his career. So
there you go.
We're wishing him the
well
best.
Well done, Scraby.
Yes. Jake, 5-3, first of all, great. This is what we love. To people that are newer to soccer want to see goals like this. But SDFC's been doing this all year, right? They've been playing this fun, attacking, open style. It's been great for them. It's been great for our new fans here in San Diego. And, it's creating a lot of excitement and now buzz because I think teams are looking at SDFC going, man, look at this. This is working. Maybe we should try a little more of it.
Absolutely, right? I mean, first of all, 5-3, of course. It's a thrilling game. It's an exciting game. There were 4 goals scored within 9 minutes in the first half, and then Ilovsky scored right after halftime. So 5 goals total from both teams in like 12 minutes of gameplay. It was really fun. And you hit the nail on the head with San Diego FC. They have had, from the moment that they stepped on the field against the Los Angeles Galaxy in the season opener, who were the defending MLS Cup champs, they had a distinct style, an idea, an identity. They were confident in that identity. It's attractive. It's bold. They're confident. They play out of the back. They play through pressure, which is not easy to do. It's a risk. They're confident in taking those risks. And, man, they're a great team. And, we didn't know when the season started and they started winning, could they sustain this throughout the year? It's a long season. They're going to have to go into their depth at some point because guys are going to get injured. Guys are going to go away on international duty. There's going to be a time when they're going to lose a few games in a row, which happened a couple months ago. They lost 3 in a row. They've won 7 of 9 since. They've passed every test so far. They're deservedly in first place in the Western Conference. It's just a remarkable job that's been done so far by Mikey Varas, by Tyler Heaps, by all the players, everybody in that organization.
Jake, obviously, in order to have this kind of success, you have to have talent. But specifically in the sport of soccer, it seems like the head coach, the style of play that they institute is important. You talked about the way SDFC plays out of the back. They play through pressure. What is it about what Mikey Varas has done that has helped this team get to the point where we're talking about them as one of the top teams in the league right now?
Yeah, I think there's two things a manager can do and has to do to get a team to play that style. One is you're kind of giving them ideas of how to deal with this pressure, right? So if the pressure comes from here, this is what we want to do. It's not just one player. It's got to be the whole team kind of moving into positions so that they can, play 1, 2, 3 passes and get out of that pressure. And so it's getting those ideas in the players' minds. It's training those ideas so that they can deal with everything that's going to come at them. And then it's instilling the confidence to pull it off, because it isn't easy. I mean, even the best teams in the world try to play out of the back and they give up easy goals. It happened today in the Club World Cup. Manchester City, Pep Guardiola, they are the best at doing this. They have the best players in the world. They always play out of the back, and they're so good at it. And their goalkeeper, Ederson, probably the best goalkeeper in the world with the ball at his feet or in the conversation, gives the ball right to the opponents who score a goal. It happens at the highest level. You've got to be really, really good to pull it off, and you've got to be confident to pull it off, because if you hesitate, if you're, I don't know what I'm doing here, you're done in that moment of hesitation, and the other team's going to take the ball away and score an easy goal. So, man, to get players who maybe hadn't played in that system to be at the level that they're at, to play through that pressure, it's impressive. And yeah, it's both mental, and then it's also kind of the physical and kind of the training, the ideas and the tactics of it.
SDFC is in first place. Almost, look, first season, we could not have imagined or asked for anything more. They got there with a big 5-3 win last night in Vancouver. Jake Zivin is with us, MLS play-by-play. We need to be fair here, I think, Jake, because we are at that point of the season where guys are on loan all over the world, different places, playing in different events. Vancouver was not 100% at full strength on its roster last night, from what I gather. So I'm sure SDFC will take this all with a grain of salt. They went there, they beat them, but still much work to do ahead.
Yeah, look, no doubt. Vancouver missing players, missing really good players through injury, through international duty. So was San Diego FC. They were without 9 players through injury and international duty entering that game, including 5 guys that probably at the beginning of the season would have projected to be starters, including the face of the franchise, Irving Chucky Lozano. For them to be able to do this without Chucky, I think would have shocked everybody before the season. I think every pundit, even ones that were high on San Diego and that saw what others didn't in the build of this roster, still would have said it's going to be tough for them if Chucky isn't playing at a superstar level. But they've shown that he's great when he's there. It's awesome, but they don't need it. They can also play well without Chucky Lozano. They're without Luca De La Torre, Anibal Godoy, 2 incredibly important players in the midfield away at the Gold Cup. Marcus Ingvartsen, who was supposed to be the starting striker, he's hurt again. Now they have Milan Ilovsky, so it doesn't matter who is looking like maybe the best striker in the league. It's remarkable, but they're down a lot of players. In the Paddy McNair, starting center back for the first 17, 18 games. Andres Reyes hasn't even played or played 1 game and was supposed to be a starting center back on this team. So Vancouver has that, and they can say that, and it might look different if they meet in the Western Conference final in November. But San Diego will say the same thing. We weren't at full strength either, and we beat them. So yeah, I think of course everything's a grain of salt. It's 1 game. But that they should not take away from the accomplishment last night of what San Diego did.
Yeah, the SDFC, by the way, Jake Zivin joins us here, play-by-play for MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. And Jake, they were able to get 3 guys into this all-star team that they're having. Talk a little bit about, I'm unfamiliar with it. Is that considered a lot from one team getting 3 guys on an all-star team? Is that a big deal?
It is, yes. So there's 26 players announced. 12 were voted in by fans. 12 were picked by the head coach of the MLS All-Star team, who is Nico Estevez, who is Austin FC's head coach. The game is being played in Austin, so that's tradition. The host city, their coach coaches the game. And then 2 were commissioners' picks. The 3 of the 26 are San Diego FC players. There's 30 teams in the league. Not every team can have an all-star. There's only 26 and there's 30 teams. And then they have 3. The second most of any team, Vancouver, has 4, the team they played last night, who deserve it as well. I mean, they had the best first half of the season in the league, and they deserve all 4 of their picks. The 3 is an incredible accomplishment for an expansion team, and they all are so deserving. I mean, to me, Anders Dreyer, he's leading the league in goal contributions. He's, to me, the most important player on San Diego and the primary reason why they're as good as they are, at least from attacking perspective. But I'm really happy that Jeppe Tverskov got picked because I think he's the most underrated player on this team. He plays a position where he's not going to score a lot of goals. He's not going to have a lot of assists, but he makes it all work in the midfield. He makes everything they want to do with the ball work. Zalowski's 4th goal was, to me, like just the perfect example of San Diego. Tverskov has the ball almost in San Diego's defensive penalty area. And in soccer, the term would be splits lines. He plays the ball through about 5 different Vancouver players on the ground to Dreyer, who can then turn and have a ton of space. And 4 seconds later, it's a goal. I mean, so Tverskov's ball to Dreyer was incredible. Dreyer's ball to Zalowski was incredible. And then the easy part is the actual goal scoring from Milan Zalowski. So, yeah, no doubt, impressive to have 3 All-Stars and all 3 well-deserved. Chucky Lozano, of course, is the 3rd. He was picked by MLS Commissioner Don Garber.
I think I know the answer to this, but quickly, like, can we honestly win this thing in the end?
Sure, right? I mean, you know, when San Diego started out hot, and we called 4 of their first 6 games, and they were playing great and they were winning games, and so I did a lot of radio interviews and local news hits in San Diego for the first month and a half of the season, and was asked the same question: is this for real? Can they sustain? And I said, I don't know that they're MLS Cup contenders, but I think they've proven they're going to be at least a solid playoff team in the West. Well, now we're already into the second half of the season. They're in first place. They've won 7 of 9. My tune has gone even more positive to why not?
Yeah.
In a playoff situation, anything can happen. They are certainly a contender to win the Western Conference, to be a top seed in the West in the playoffs, possibly get home field advantage. The East is better than the West. I think there's no doubt about that. So if San Diego were to win the West and make it to MLS Cup, they'd come up against a really, really good team. But because the West, I think, is really up for grabs, they're going to stay, I think, in the top few of the West, which is going to be really advantageous heading into the playoffs. So sure, why not? I wouldn't put them as the top contenders, the favorite right now, but they've got to be in the conversation. And I don't expect them to leave that conversation as the season goes on.
Jake, you are invited to the parade in November.
All right.
Thanks so much.
I'll be there. I mean,
come
San
on.
Diego, and I live in Portland, Oregon. So San Diego in December, that sounds great to me. I'm coming. I'll accept the invitation.
Hey, appreciate you coming on, Jake, and I know everybody here does too. We'll see you down the road. Thanks again for the time.
Great to talk to you both. Cheers.
All right. Jake Zivin from the MLS play-by-play SDFC. I mean, I don't know that everybody's aware of what was going on last night, late night game, Apple TV, you got to pay extra money, the whole thing. But we wake up this morning, we're on top in the MLS. More Gwynn and Chris. I believe a Big Five.
Oh, yeah.
Is what we do next. Stick around.
Ben and Wood.
7:39 here in Cincinnati, 4:39 there in San Diego. Last segment before you get a dose of the Round Table. Brought to you by Round Table.
Chris, how many pieces of or how many wings did you eat today?
20.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I love wings, man.
Well, there was 5 different flavors. I ate like 4 of each flavor.
I think the wings are very underrated.
20 is not very many, Scraby. That's honestly 20 bites. That's all it really is.
I was talking
are these boneless?
No. Got to eat around the bones.
I was talking to Adam
Like a
earlier, and
real
Adam
wing,
loves wings, and he was eating them while we were talking. And you know how much I hate wings, and I hate when people are eating wings. And so I was like, kind of like, oh gosh, I'm just gonna look towards the refrigerator while you're talking, and you're chomping on those wings.
Why do you just not ever watch anyone eat? You don't like crackers eating. You don't like.
The crackers are because of the smell.
Your list of things you don't like is way too long.
Yeah, it really.
You need to shorten that list.
Why do you think I drank so long, Chris?
Goodness.
Yeah,
I mean, just you bring anything up. Oh, I hate that.
Wings has been something for my entire life.
I don't
Bananas,
know why
hate.
you don't like wings. I think it makes you a little bit of a weirdo that you don't like wings.
I've been told that before.
I mean, it's kind of like a
a
man tradition.
I was
to
just
eat a
about to
wing.
say.
I'm just saying you don't like wings at all. You like boneless, don't you? Weren't you
I
the
love
guy?
boneless.
Yeah,
But those aren't really wings.
It's not a wing.
Those are just small pieces of meat.
It's cut up chicken fingers is what it is.
I had cut up chicken. I had
That's
this
what it is.
conversation on literally Tuesday or Monday with someone about how boneless wings are called boneless wings because it's a marketing gimmick to make you still want wings.
Right, and it's worked for you apparently.
Oh, it's worked for a lot of people. Boneless wings are there, but if it was boneless wings on the menu and they brought me chicken strips, I would be upset because I did not order chicken strips.
You wouldn't know. They just cut them up, and you don't know. That's and they douse it with juice or with sauce. You don't know. It's cut up chicken fingers, man.
All right, are you ready for the big 5?
Let's get to the big 5. Yes.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
This game day traffic report is brought to you by Crystal Geyser, Alpine Spring Water. Got a collision on southbound 125 just before the 8, not showing if any lanes are blocked. Also, looks like a stalled vehicle has been pushed over to the right shoulder on southbound 805 before Adams. What makes Crystal Geyser Alpine Spring Water different? They always bottle their Alpine Spring Water less than 1.5 miles from the spring source. And all of their bottles are made with 50% recycled plastic from their own recycling plants. Crystal Geyser, bottled at the spring source. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's that time of the show when we check on the latest in sports. Only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big 5 starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, Nate on the chat says that boneless wings are baby chicken fingers.
They
never
are
said-
baby chicken fingers, man.
I never said that they weren't, but
I'm just saying, why don't you just order chicken fingers? You can just order
because
chicken
chicken fingers are long.
Just cut them up. You want somebody to cut your chicken up
I
for
hate
you,
cutting
buddy?
stuff up, Tony.
When
Just like a child.
should I even admit this?
Cut my chicken fingers up, Mom.
Here we go.
Should I even admit this? When I was growing up and my mom would make like an actual chicken or something with the bones in it, she knew I wouldn't eat, so she would delicately slice me pieces off of the chicken so that I would eat them. I have a great mom. I have a great mom.
You do.
Yeah, because later on in life, my mom's like, eat it or don't eat it. I don't care.
She got tired of slicing off
She did.
pieces.
All right.
Number 5.
First, tune into the Manager's Report with Mike Schilt tomorrow at 9 a.m. on Ben & Woods. The Manager's Report is refreshed by EcoWater SoCal. Try alkaline water for just $9.95 a month. EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. All right, number 5. Luis Ariz has been somewhat of a conundrum this year, but yesterday he had a 3-hit game, and that's good enough to have an MLB leading 12th 3-hit game, which is kind of shocking to me. And on top of that, Arise extended his I already said that. That's too shy of his career high set last season for 3-hit games. Arise has now raised his batting average 15 points to 288 during the streak. That is still 25 points lower than his previous career low, 74 games into a season, but he is on his way back up. Tony, is Luis Arise starting to round into form?
Looks like it. Looks like he's heating up, as they used to say on NBA Jam.
He's on fire.
Yeah, he's starting to seems like he's starting to get hot. And I think we've all been kind of waiting on it for a while. It's kind of the standard he set. We looking at him, we're hitting 275, and it's like, what's going on, man? You got to get your life together here. And now he's starting to get back to the Luis Arise we saw, last year. And it'll be interesting to see how this whole lineup thing continues to evolve. Hitting the leadoff spot for the first time wasn't super fruitful. We only scored 1 run, but he got to be the one to drive the run in, hitting in that one spot. So, I think he is starting to heat up.
Chris, is Luis Arise heating up?
Well, I'm going to just go with the old standby when it comes to guys hitting well. Because I don't know if it 100% applies to Arise because he's just a different cat. But when I see him hitting fly ball outs to right field, I feel like that's not Luis Arise. But what I saw yesterday was 3 singles to left field. That, to me, is Luis Arise. And I feel like Tony would tell me he's letting the ball travel a little further. And I think that's allowing him to hit a little more consistently. Spoken like a person who really, truly isn't a hitting coach. But, yes, I hope he is.
All right.
Number 4.
MLB.com put out a list of the top hitters in baseball right now, and the Big Dumper, which is a great nickname, Cal Raleigh, is number 1 in this week's edition. Then it goes Aaron Judge. It's at number 2. Number 3 is Ohtani. Number 4 is Soto. And number 5 is Ketel Marte. So, Chris, is Cal Raleigh the best hitter in baseball right now?
No. He's the hottest hitter at the moment, but I don't know. Does anybody fear Cal Raleigh the way they do somebody like Ohtani or even Manny Machado?
They should fear Cal Raleigh.
I imagine they're pitching carefully to him. He is, he's got to do it a little longer. Aaron Judge is, I think, quite a bit more feared. That's not to take away from Cal Raleigh's doing, as we've talked about already. He's got his pace. He's got a chance to be the all-time home run champ for switch hitters. And he also has a chance to be the all-time home run single-season champ for a catcher. So both things would be very impressive if he can do it in the second half.
Dude has an OPS plus this year. I just looked, 198.
He's phenomenally good, but he's not the best hitter in baseball. No.
All right, Tony, is Cal Raleigh the best hitter in baseball right now?
No. I don't know. I think the question should be, is he the hottest hitter in baseball?
Yeah.
Okay, well, the list was top hitters in baseball. So.
Well, yeah. No, he's not a top hitter in baseball. And I think part of the way you know that is because they're still pitching to him. Like, he's not the top hitter in baseball, and he's continuing to beat him over the head right now. He's certainly, I've always liked Kyle Raleigh from the first time he got to the big leagues. You could just tell he had an understanding of what he was doing. And at the catching position, he's good defensively as well. So I like him a lot. I don't think he's the best. Like, it's hard for me to say, oh, yeah, Kyle Raleigh, yeah, best hitter in baseball. I'm sorry. Like, I can't put him ahead of Judge. I can't put him ahead of Ohtani. I'm sure I'm missing a bunch of other guys that I'm just not seeing at the top of him. I can't even put Kyle ahead of, I'm not putting him ahead of Manny.
That's what I said.
So, like, I mean, yeah, no, he's not the best hitter in baseball. He's the hottest, though.
All right.
Number 3.
The Bengals of Cincinnati, where you are, Tony, and Hamilton
Yes.
County have agreed to principal terms for a new lease that keeps the team in Cincinnati playing games at Paycor Stadium through June of 2036 with 10 additional option years that could extend the lease through June of 2046. They made a post today saying, this is a significant day for the Bengals in Hamilton County as we secure the team's future in Cincinnati. This new deal ensures Paycor Stadium remains an excellent venue and a focal point for Cincinnati's riverfront. We are proud to call Paycor Stadium our home and to keep our future here in Cincinnati, where it belongs. My question to you guys is...
What's your question?
Because there was a little bit of a rumbling from the ownership of, like, maybe we should move because we're not going to have a place to play. Do the Bengals belong in Cincinnati, Tony?
Yes, they belong in Cincinnati, and that was just, it was just lip service, just to get some movement. Probably, maybe we shouldn't be here. We should go elsewhere where they'll build us a new stadium. Psych! Ain't nobody gonna build you a new stadium right now. Ain't nobody gonna build you a new stadium. And so, no, they belong where they are.
Chris,
where else are they gonna go? Where are you suggesting?
Let's see. What city would San Diego? Come on out here. We'll have some Bengals on our helmet.
And of course,
you don't have a stadium.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
it's not even a discussion point.
Snapdragon.
It's not even a discussion
point.
point.
It's funny you bring up Snapdragon. We drove by Cincinnati Stadium as we went to the hotel.
It's massive.
That thing, it like dwarfs Snapdragon.
It's massive.
It's massive. Like it's not even. We don't have a stadium.
Chris just shook his head at me. He didn't.
Well, I live right next to Snapdragon Stadium. I don't have a problem with our Snapdragon Stadium.
I don't either.
But I do have a problem with the fact that it represents the fact we don't have something bigger. So that's what will always bother me. I will just say one thing about Cincinnati. This is good for them that they got the extended lease. But you're a Cincinnati guy, Scraby, originally.
Yes. I've been to the game.
The city, if I'm not mistaken, the city pretty much mortgaged its entire financial future for forevermore to allow this stadium to be built. And I know they're still paying a heavy price for that decision.
Yes.
So the Bengals and Cincinnati are, I think, what anti-stadium people in San Diego should refer to, because that's one thing that is a cautionary tale. The city of Cincinnati's really paid the price for this.
They have, but they all have also completely redone their entire waterfront, their downtown.
Yeah.
Their downtown was a very dangerous place in the early 2000s. And they have the Red Stadium down the street from the Bengals Stadium right there on the river.
Yeah,
how it should be done.
There are other things that go along with that. That's true.
And they have a lot more fun things to do in Cincinnati.
I know when we were here a couple years ago, I think it was a couple years ago, Taylor Swift was playing.
I remember this.
Oh, yes. That was a big
deal.
I
mean, this whole city was jumping.
Didn't they have to move the Reds game or something? Because
no, they moved it up. They moved it up earlier because she was playing in the football stadium. So yeah, I mean they've been able to get some good things out of it too.
Well, there's no. Oh, look, hey, I'm in favor
but Chris
of what
is
they
right
did.
though. They definitely. I remember that it was a big deal that they kind of put it all on the line to get that stadium built.
All right, we got to hurry. But Team Canada has pulled off their first major upset in the quest to qualify for the flag football at the 2028 LA Olympics. ESPN analyst Pat McAfee openly called out the United States men's flag football team on his maps. He said, "We can't be losing to Canada. This can't be happening."
Hold up. Wait, we lost to Canada?
Yeah, 25-21.
No, that's not good for my man who wants to keep the job.
Yeah, well, maybe we should bring Patrick Mahomes in then.
The Canadian senior men's national team did go 4-0 in this whole tournament. But, anyway. Who's up now? Tony, we'll just say you. Is it a failure for the United States to get anything but a gold medal in the 2028 Olympics?
Yeah, you know that's how we roll.
That's how we do
that's
things
how
here.
we roll. I'm just saying.
Dream Team gets a bronze and we hate them.
The better story is that my man's who was like, we want an opportunity. Now we're covering this thing now. And if y'all losing to Canada or anybody for that matter, it's only going to open the door for this conversation that you don't want to happen, which is that the NFL players may very well be coming.
Oh, what if they lose to Team Canada?
Then
Joe
he's got his
Burrow and
argument
Justin
back.
Jefferson.
Then he's got his argument back.
Chris?
Yes. But
Failure?
we're all or nothing in any sport, but yes, this one for sure.
But this is our sport, Chris. This is America.
Uh-huh.
Number 1.
All right, I noticed something a while ago, but I never really thought about it until the other day, and this is not really that important. After an inning ends in baseball, let's say it's a ground out to first. The first baseman gets the out, throws the ball towards the mound, and then someone immediately throws the first baseman a ball to use to warm up the next time they go out for defense.
This is actually kind of funny.
My question is, I have two thoughts on this. First, why didn't they just keep the ball that instead of throwing it back to the mound? And second, who is the person that's throwing them the ball every time?
Oh, this is a good question, Scravy. This actually means you're paying attention.
I'm definitely
by the
paying
way.
attention.
All right. So it used to be that
yes,
the
it's
last
too
out
late.
was made, and whoever had the ball would kind of just leave it on the mound. And then at some point, it changed where the last out's made, first baseman keeps it. He usually gives it to a fan, and then whoever the coach is, it's usually an infield coach, outfield coach, has a ball ready, and he throws it to him.
Fires it to
coming
him.
in. Yeah.
I just always found that interesting. Like, why they're not going to use the ball that they threw back to the mound?
Hey, until I got to go to the field with my dad when I was not, I wondered the same thing. Like, yo, who's throwing the ball?
Just a pitching machine.
Why did he just keeping the other one? And then I found out, oh, well, I want to give this one to the fan, and then I get this one.
That's nice. That's nice. Chris, anything on this?
Nothing on that, but I will share a question my friend Greg had yesterday.
15 seconds.
Why did they change the bases 3 different times during the game? Are they actually that worn?
During night games, they get moist, and then people slip on them, and so they're trying to keep them dryness. Boom, boom, boom.
All right, we
I don't
gotta
know about
go.
the day games.
There you go, Greg.
Bye.
The talk of the town. We've got you covered first.